problem with your ecclesiology is that when there are no leaders, right? I mean,
we have bishops, we have archbishops.
You don't have bishops.
Yes, we do.
But
We have bishops. We have bishops. We do have bishops. My church has bishops.
And
Okay,
why is that?
Because they can.
87th time the question's been asked, and he's answered the exact same thing.
We have bishops.
Hello, my name is Bishop Sarah Mullally. I'm deeply honoured to have been called to serve as the 106th Archbishop of Canterbury.
Bravo, Taffy.
Oh,
Good
Taffy.
intro, Taffy.
Let's fill up that tip jar for Taffy. Come on, this guy is he just kills it, man.
Yeah, Gordon was getting a little cute today on his stream about me.
Oh yeah. I was actually listening to that earlier. I had to almost like
Gordon was
rewind.
getting a little cute on his stream today.
Was it him or Steph? I can't remember. It was him.
Oh,
or
it was Steph.
Yeah, I think it was,
Steph
right?
getting a little cute over there. And not for nothing, Steph, you don't want to start with me because I'll have a handful of things to say about you, hon. It's not a fight you want to pick.
It's like why is everybody throwing shots at each other, man? Come on.
I don't get it because I'll be honest, like I did the rollout show when the Pope was elected. I had Tim on. And then after that show, I was just like, I don't know. Dude, here's the thing. Tim was writing it up to mimetic desire, and that's not what it was. It's like, dude, there's this thing about being Catholic where you just kind of like, you don't want to, like this, you just feel wrong about like going at the Pope before he's done anything. So it's like, it wasn't like, it was on. Look, I did see a lot of people like after Taylor changed his tune, everybody like got in line. That wasn't my motive whatsoever. Mine was just, we got done with that stream and I was like, I don't know, man. Like it just felt wrong. That's all. I don't know. It's like, I'm Catholic and like the guy hasn't even done anything yet. And I'm just like coming out the gate like this. So I just had like a weird feeling about it. You know, it wasn't that I was in denial about anything Tim said. I think Tim was 100% right. So I never came out at any point, and we don't want the show to be about the Pope. I'm just addressing Tim's show today. So I never like came out and like glazed Leo or anything. I never did the Leo's based or anything. I've always kind of known what he was. I just think he's like a boomer. Like he's just like the epitome of boomer Catholicism. That's just my opinion on it. So, I kind of just like backed off the subject totally. We just did cultural stuff. Like it wasn't like I wasn't out there telling people wait and see. I wasn't telling people to zip it. I wasn't saying anything about Leo. I was just, every time he came up, I was just like, whatever. That's just how I handled it. I just didn't want to talk about him. And then like 2 weeks ago, like Chris Jackson and Catholic Esquire and stuff, they were writing stuff that I was like, this is actually important. And maybe we should start addressing it. So before Leo did his own, this past 48 hours or 3 days thing, like I started commenting on it again a little bit and just addressing some of those guys. And it was actually pretty interesting how like I decided to start talking about it again. And then these whole events just happen. But Tim's not wrong in that there is this thing with mimetic desire where you don't want to be the guy standing out, being the only guy out there trashing the Pope when everybody else is kind of like chill, you know? So yeah, that probably did play a little bit of a part in it, but to write that off as cowardice, that's not what it was. It wasn't that. It was just, first off, there was nothing to talk about. It was just uninteresting. And I just, whatever. But you know, but Steph can't help herself, and she has to take a few shots at me today. That's fine. I know Steph.
The cowardice comment is definitely taking it too far, and I love Tim and Steph, dude. They're the godparents of my youngest daughter, so like, yeah. I got nothing but good things to say about them. I think it's totally normal to want to hold out hope for a good Pope, a strong leader. Every man has that desire, especially coming off the heels of the Francis pontificate. I think that was prudent to not say anything. People could kind of maybe see the writing on the wall, but you want it to hold out until, hey, you have a reason to maybe think otherwise. And even when you have a reason to say or think otherwise, it's like, man, you got to really practice prudence and temperance and going about how we talk about these things. I just think, man, I don't know. It's probably because I'm projecting my scrupulosity on everybody else, but I'm looking at Twitter and how people are talking about this stuff. I'm like, man, you guys need to be in the confessional like yesterday. Like, what's
my position the past couple of days was not even about Leo. It's about the way we're all handling the conversation. and everybody's kind of talking past each other. And I just think there's a way we could do this where we like work together. Like there's no reason for the infighting is so stupid and annoying. And it's like, this one's going after this one. And it's just so silly. It's just stupid. Whatever. Like I'll never take it away from Tim that like he was the first one to go through this stuff. And he, you know, he called it from the beginning. Like good on him. I still don't regret, like, I still don't regret the way I handled it though. Like I wasn't doing it out of fear, or I wasn't doing it like Tim made the comment. He's like, when did you get the call that you're allowed to talk about? Like, come on, stop it. Like
this is like locker room talk. We just got to hash
like,
it out.
You
like,
seriously think somebody like knock it off? That's not what happened. It's actually like 3 weeks ago I started talking about it. And then the Leo interview came out and I kind of critiqued that a little bit. And then the last couple of days I was just like, all right, look, here's the thing. I see a lot of new guys like the Pope splainers, like just jumping into their reflexive Pope splain mode. And I wanted to explain what the seamless garment was and kind of why there was this loaded energy that kind of got let loose by the trads when Leo made those comments. It's not this animosity towards the Pope. It's that those comments were very loaded with things that we, especially us who have been Catholic under JP2 and Benedict, like that's a very like sensitive topic because we lived through a lot of stuff that had to do with that. And then, so it was just it was like a loaded gun going or a powder keg that was ready to blow off. And Leo said the perfect thing to blow it off. So I tried to have that conversation with the people who were going into their old Francis mode of being. And I don't think that's the way any of us should handle this. And even with Leo doing what he did, I still don't know what the proper way to go forward is. I don't think anything was effective the way we did it under Francis. Everybody kind of flipped out under Francis, and what we got was Traditionis Custodes. And then he doubled down again. Like nothing worked the way we did it before. So I think we got to, come up with a better way to do things. So that's just kind of my position. I honestly, I didn't want to even address the Pope issue with you on the show. I know you've been going on like Father Dan Rehill.
Correct. I've been on a show like 3 times in the last month.
How's that going?
Oh, dude, Father Rehill is an absolute savage. I love that guy. Just a super, super kind but powerful dude. He reminds you a lot like Ripperger, that kind of like conviction and belief, and the whole spiritual warfare exorcism piece is obviously very, very interesting. And he's just a good guy behind the scenes. He's like it's like, dude, he's a New Yorker like you. What you see is what you get. And yeah. I appreciate that about my East Coast peeps.
I'm curious, how did he come across you?
So I think it was his producer, I believe her name is Mary. And this was months back. This was supposed to happen in like March, April. And then he was, traveling to Medjugorje a bunch of times, and we never got connected. And then all of a sudden, like a month ago, what's up, Mrs. C? That's cool. I could do side note. I could see how Josh Charles just got lost in the comments, dude. It's so easy to do that.
It is. Well, if I highlight something, you could read it. But Josh would literally sit there and just read the comments. And like, Josh, I'm having a conversation with you, and he's addressing the comments while I'm talking. He still gets upset if I bring that up.
It's so funny. He called you up pretty good though. That was a nice little exchange. That was so good, dude. Just legendary. Yeah, no. And then it was about a month ago. He just calls me. He goes, "Hey, it's Father Dan." I'm like, "Oh," he kind of caught me off guard. And then the first show was just about fatherhood and masculinity, spiritual warfare, etc. And then I made a post about the sort of Marian connection between the Irina Zarutska murder, Charlie Kirk's assassination, and the Annunciation School shooting. And then he called me like the next day. He's like, "I want to have you on the show again." We did that. And I suppose, he took a bit of a liking to me, dude. He sent me this like package of sacramentals. It's the most crazy thing.
Oh, that's very cool, man.
Oh, dude. I feel weird about saying that publicly because I'm like bragging about it, but it was very, very kind. What he sent me. It was just beautiful. And then anyways, he again, I think it was his producer, because I don't think he follows me, sent him the video of me talking about that like demonic encounter that I had. He's like, "I want you to talk about this."
I wanted to actually talk to you about it. Somebody had said to me, "Can you ask Mike to elaborate a little bit on that demonic encounter?" So I'll say right off the bat, I know you don't drink, and I am having a beer tonight. I don't think that bothers you, but you have a pretty wild. So we never actually did your conversion story on the show. We don't have to jump into that, but you have some demons in your past that you're still wrestling with a little bit, I guess, right?
Yeah, I don't really wrestle with the alcohol problem really like anymore. There'll be a couple times a year where I'll have one, and the Lord has given me the temperance to just like put it away. And I think it's a grace to say that like I actually really just don't like it anymore. I think truly it was a grace that I inherited through the Blessed Mother's intercession, the Rosary, etc. But how this thing came about, and the conversion story. I hate to sound like somebody that's important. I'm really not. I've just said it so many times on like these different shows that I actually like that we weren't talking about that. That was kind of more off the cuff stuff. That's what I appreciate about the show. But this encounter in particular was interesting because, there was some external, like whatever business stress going on. And then it was last Tuesday where I was just, again, gripped with this just irrational fear and despair and sorrow, where like these thoughts of, I should just delete myself and just get it over and done with. Like, what's the point of all this? Like these just insane.
Wow, have you ever had those before?
Yeah, I struggled with that growing up a lot. I even spent some time in a brief intervention unit when I was like early 20s, dude. And I'm not joking. Like over a weekend, it was wild. It was so crazy. That's a story for a different day. But these have been pretty quiet for a long time. Like I'm a pretty like hopeful and like optimistic dude. So when these kind of overcame me, I'm like, man, what is going on? And so this stress had like led me to, I'm like, man, I'm gonna drink. I'm gonna drink again. It's been like months and months, but I feel like I'm on this sort of like cusp of doing it. And my wife was just like, I put that woman through so much early on in our marriage. I felt so bad. I was like tongue tied, and she's like, please go pray. You have that, deliverance prayers book by Father Rippiger. Please go pray that. And again, dude, I didn't want to pray. I was kind of stuck there, like frozen, like on the verge of like a panic attack.
How long have you been married?
I've been married since 21. So we were civilly married in 21. We've been together since 2020, but we get our marriage convalidated August of 2024.
Yeah, that I remember. But so when you first got married, you had your conversion even begun yet?
Oh, dude, not at all, man. I was still drinking a lot. I was a Christian, like low church, non-denominational, barely going to church on Sundays, but we were both very much still like believed in Jesus, all that stuff. My conversion didn't really start until end of 2023 when I had my my second daughter, Serafina. And that's when like this thought came into my mind. I remember being at a service and there's these two questions that came up, and I'll never forget. One was, I think this was around Christmas time or getting close. I said, why don't they ever mention, this is my old Catholic upbringing coming up. And it was, why don't they mention Mary? Like where's it's just this woman, his mother. It's like, man, is it just some lady? It can't be. And then there was the monthly communion service with the grape juice and cracker. That just absolutely, I remember like throwing it in the trash. I had this trash bag, and everybody was just like throwing this in the trash. I said, man, this is insane. Even if this is symbolic, this is absolutely, it makes no sense. I had no idea what transubstantiation was, etc. So
wait, slow down. I got to jump into this. So wait, now, did you make all your sacraments as a Catholic growing up?
I got all of them except for confirmation.
Okay, so you did go through first communion and stuff. So even though you weren't catechized, like you did have like those lingering remnants of your first communion,
absolutely,
least, right? Okay.
Oh, definitely. I did, Sunday school, and I just didn't receive confirmation. That was the only thing. So these old Catholic, even some of the catechesis, which was very bare minimum, it started to come up. And I go home and I'm like, man, this is just, I'm unsettled. This pisses me off. This kind of seems really disrespectful. So, and then I kind of, I've been a business owner since I was 22, and it's always been my thing, like make money, provide, etc. And I'm like, man, am I spiritually providing for this was a grace that kind of fell out of the ether. And I said, I don't actually know how to defend my faith. I was coming into conversation with a lot of Orthodox, a lot of Catholics, and I'm like, man, I don't know how to defend this. This actually makes no sense to me. So let's dig into at least like sola scriptura. So I at least have an idea how to defend this. And so it was actually, this is where I got to shout out Josh Charles, where his Eternal Christendom blog and New Advent, I think everybody knows New Advent, where you go and kind of read the patristics, stumbling upon St. Ignatius of Antioch, reading the early church fathers. And, I remember just walking, my mother-in-law went to Turkey, and she's not even Catholic, dude, but she bought this rosary for us that just kind of hung on our thermostat for a long time. And I said, you know what, man, I'm going to pray this. Like, Lord, forgive me if I'm doing something wrong. I'm going to pray this. I don't know how to pray the rosary. I have no idea. I remember watching these videos. Do I need to hold it in my right hand? Like, how do I do this? Like, I had no idea. I remember so my nonna, my B's nonna, my great nonna would pray every day, and I still didn't know how to pray the rosary. So I did that, read the fathers, and I was like, I woke up one morning, I said, I got to be Catholic. Like, there's no going back. Like, this sola scriptura domino that fell was like, this is indefensible. Like, I cannot be a Protestant.
That is so cool. It's interesting because like I had terrible catechesis growing up, but like some of my fondest memories growing up are my mom praying the rosary with me. Like I was catechized enough, right? So like when I think back on my childhood, I remember my mom putting us to bed, me and my little brother Mikey, and just sitting up and praying the rosary with us when we were little, you know. That, and my mom always showed us Eucharistic miracles.
Wow.
My mom was like heavy into apparitions and stuff because like my parents went to Medjugorje and like my dad had a conversion in Medjugorje and stuff. I know Medjugorje is controversial, but my mom did show us like the miracles of the Catholic Church. So like I knew about incorruptible saints, and I knew about I knew about Eucharistic miracles specifically. So it was, I had like a segment of my life where I lived as though God didn't exist, but I never was an atheist. I was always Catholic. I would have always identified as Catholic. But then I got married, and I knew enough that I had to get married in the Catholic Church. And I had to get a dispensation from the bishop because my wife was Lutheran.
Smart.
So my wife had to agree to raise the children Catholic, and she had to, right? Like, but her Lutheran service was so similar to the Catholic Novus Ordo. She was like a Missouri Synod Lutheran, that I wasn't catechized enough to know there was a difference. And I would like, sometimes we would go to her Lutheran thing and I would receive, and then sometimes she would go to Catholic Mass and she would receive. And we got married at 22, and that lasted up until I was about 30. And there was like long periods where I wouldn't go to Mass and things like that. And then I had my original reversion was when I was 30, and I was like on my way home from Atlantic City, and I just lost like $5,000. Like we went there for a work trip, and I lost like $5,000, and I was being an idiot with like girls down there. And so I didn't like do anything that bad, but like I was just being an idiot while I was down there, like acting like, talking as if I wasn't married. And I remember coming home and this guilt, the guilt I felt on that ride home. I was 30 years old driving home, and I come across Protestant radio. And like, I give my life to Jesus in the car on the way home, listening to Protestant radio, dude. Like, and for like a 6-month period, I don't know if I've ever told this on air. For like a 6-month period, I'm listening to Protestant radio. Like I'm listening to Alistair Begg, like that. Alistair Begg is like, he's Scottish. He's a Scottish guy. I'm listening to like all of, like I bought an R.C. Sproul book on Romans. Like,
oh wow,
dude,
Sproul too, hey?
Dude, I was like heavily in the Protestant world for like 6 months. And then I came across this guy, Alex Jones. Well, not the Alex Jones, but I came across this black guy, Alex Jones's conversion story. And it was a Protestant pastor, and he took his entire church into the Catholic Church. Like he started reading the church fathers, and he came across Scott Hahn, and he winds up like preaching these Catholic sermons to his Protestant congregation, and half of them end up leaving, and the other half come into the Catholic Church with him. Wow. So, but he mentioned Scott Hahn. So then I listened to the Scott Hahn conversion story, and the rest is history from there. Like that. So then like I go and I'm on like the Scott Hahn binge, and I'm listening to his priest conferences and his like every single thing you could imagine of Scott Hahn. I'm like devouring. But then it like comes to a point between my wife and I where I'm like, wait a minute, you can't receive communion at the Catholic Church. And like there was
she
this period. She was before that because I didn't know any better. So now I'm like, we're going to church, and we're going to church every week, and she's coming to church with me, and I'm like, no, you can't receive, you're Lutheran. And I tried to like argue her in, and she just eventually got to the point where she's like, well, I don't want to be a different religion than my children, and I don't want to not be able to receive a church. So she went through RCIA. But it was like one of the worst RCIA programs on earth. So like I'm fighting with the instructor, I'm arguing with, like, it was just a crazy thing. So that was back when I was in my 30s. That was like way before my like second reversion, when I like come into tradition and my wife has like her conversion and stuff. But I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off. But so no. Okay, so the demonic attack you're dealing with, you're starting to relapse into those old thoughts you had when you were younger.
Yeah. No, I didn't hear that story about your conversion in that detail. Maybe it's because I need to get on Locals and dust the cobwebs off my wallet. So.
Well, I always add like these little things that I've never told before. Like I've told portions of my conversion. I've never like really gone through it thoroughly with everybody, but I've had more than one conversion. That's more than one. And like I left the sacraments for 2 years when Francis first got elected because I was so demoralized, and then I kind of came back. But that initial conversion had to do with like this Atlantic City trip and me like coming in through Protestantism, and it was a weird, yeah.
Well, I came back to the church through Protestantism as well. I mean, it was we'll get to the demonic story in a second, but there was something I was thinking about the other day that I'm going to make a video about. This is really interesting. I overthink absolutely everything. But the year before I started to inquire Catholicism again, I got rebaptized in a Protestant church, as most people do that fall away from the church.
Was it a valid baptism?
From what I remember, I believe it was, but it was a rebaptism. So like, what was that? I don't know. I don't know if that's like a heresy or something you just shouldn't do.
Yeah. I mean, we believe in one baptism, but it wasn't done. Like, yeah, I get it. Like, I was considering it too when I first came back. I was like, should I get baptized again? My mom's like, no, you're baptized. Like,
smart mom.
Yeah.
And dude, it was there's probably no correlation between these two things, but 2 days later, my wife had a brutal miscarriage, like horrific. Like I was going to tell this story, especially Kennedy Hall's story, tragic story with his child now, that kind of like prompted this thinking about this. I said, man, I was started to look back. I said, was that sort of like a divine chastisement for doing that? And probably not. I was talking to my wife about this the other night. She's like, no, don't think about it that way. I know God doesn't work that way, but you can't help but wonder. And it was like a year later, almost like to the day, I started to think about Catholicism. It was really this path, because after that happened, it furthered and deepened my faith, what I thought my faith was at that time. I was just in awe of like the majesty and the power of God, where he can snuff life out in a second and, bring it, from the dust out of nowhere in a woman's womb. And I was just completely radicalized in my faith at that point. And then a year later, Catholicism happened. So I'm like, are these things all related? Anyways, I probably overthinking that stuff, but getting back to like the demonic story. So yeah, all these things started to come up. Suicidal thoughts. I was going to drink, all these things. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go pray. The Deliverance Prayers book, I've had it for a long time. It's an awesome book. And Father Rehill sent me this little vial of St. Joseph's holy oil. So I said, okay, I'm going to bless myself and I'm going to go pray these prayers. And I went and prayed the prayers, and it was I prayed a bunch of them, but there was probably like the prayer against retaliation, perimeter prayer, especially the binding prayer and the sealing prayer. And then, dude, I'm not joking. It was like somebody hit the light switch and gone, just disappeared, poof, out of nowhere. From grip, like suicidal ideation, to contemplating, relapse, which felt like it was an inevitability, and then just gone.
Yeah, for anybody that's never struggled with depression is a strange thing. I only dealt with it one time in my life. But the thoughts, like the dark thoughts, are out of your control. And they kind of just creep in. And there was one period in my life where I never was at that point, but I understood how people get to that point, because like everything could be going great in your life and you just have like no desire to get out of bed, and you just have this hopeless feeling. So it's a scary thing if like you're dealing with depression and stuff like that. It's like out of your control. It's something bizarre, but that's interesting. So now you start coming in 21. Does your wife think you're losing your mind, or how?
Yeah, it was 23. It was end of 23. So I'm coming up on 2 years of being Catholic. And yeah, I mean, she converted to Christianity from she was born in Lebanon. So her parents were part of the Druze. My father-in-law had a background in like the Maronite Catholic Church, but they were raised in the Druze religion, the Druze faith that's exclusive to this area in Lebanon, which is kind of like a mishmash of a bunch of different faiths. Like, it's not fair to call them just like a sect of Islam, because they take a bunch of different things. So anyways, she was like Hindu for some time, and then all of a sudden she converted to like Protestant Christianity with a friend in Australia after attending church. And so she was obviously, familiar. She was really, bold and, entrenched in her faith when I met her. And that was part of the reason why, you know, I wanted to marry her. But when the Catholic conversation came up, it was just, and I went about it like a complete idiot, dude. It was like church history, you know, all the
Yeah, it's like the same thing.
just so dumb. And she felt so stupid. She's like, what? I don't even understand what you're saying. You're making me feel dumb, and I'm getting angry. It's like, how can you not understand this?
The hardest thing for my wife was the no salvation outside the church, because I'm trying to tell her, like, no, you have to be Catholic. She's like, but why do I have to be Catholic? You know, and I'm trying to argue her in. And she just, the no salvation outside the church thing was just so hard for her, because then her mind goes right to, wait, so you're telling me my family's going to hell? I was like, well, your family's probably going to hell anyway, but like, because you're not Catholic.
To put it bluntly, it's like, to tell you the truth, you know, it's a hard thing to explain. That specific, it's hard to explain to somebody what that actually means.
So she goes through RCIA, but then and she's going through, and she does like she does believe the Catholic faith. But when I left the sacraments in 2016 under Francis, like when the father and the husband and the priest of the home leaves the sacraments, the family leaves the sacraments. Like, I'm not being the priest of the home, and we stop going to church. And when you stop going to church, like, you fall back into your old sins, you fall back into your old habits, and so does she. And we had this 2-year period where we weren't going to church. And when I came back because I had like this nightmare that I was in hell, and it was so real. Like my soul was damned. And I woke up, and it was like 3:00 in the morning, and I just like started looking on YouTube, and I watched this documentary on Our Lady of Fatima. And dude, this thing like put the fear of hell in me, watching this documentary. And I can't, now I'm up all night. It was a weekend, so I was like, I didn't sleep at all that night. The next morning, I wait until like 9 a.m, and I call my brother Joey, and I'm like, Joe, I'm like, and now my cousin Eddie and my brother Joey, when I first convert when I'm 30, I like bring them with me. My cousin Eddie and my brother Joey are working with me, and they're driving into work with me, and I'm taking them through Scott Hahn, and they're going to mass with me for that period, and they're taking their, and when I stopped going to the sacraments, like, it wasn't just me and my family. My brother and my cousin stopped going to, like, I was a spiritual father to a clan. They were all following my lead, and when I stopped, like, they all stopped, and there was this 2-year period where none of us went to mass. And I watched this documentary, and I call my brother Joey the next day, and I tell him I watched the documentary. He goes, Anthony, I watched the same documentary yesterday. I'm like, are you kidding me? He's like, I'm not kidding at all. I watched the same documentary yesterday. I call my cousin Eddie. I tell him about it. He goes, you're not going to believe this. I just watched that documentary. Like, within the same day, me, my brother, and my cousin all watched the same documentary. My little sister Chrissy, then, like, she winds up like going and like, she has a deep conversion, and she goes and stays with the Passionist nuns. And it was so many things that just happened all at once, that it was just like, you saw God's providence. And it was just such an amazing period of time back in 2017. And since 2017, like, I find that, but when I find the Latin Mass, and I want to start going to the Latin Mass, like, there was this demonic reaction from my wife. I'm not even kidding. It did not feel, my daughter's calling me. This might be important. Hang on.
Do your thing.
Yes. Hi, what's the matter? All right, I'm doing a show right now. I'll send you my. Sorry, my daughter needs money.
You got to do what you got to do, man. Duty calls.
Yeah. My daughter needs money. Hang on.
do your thing. I'm just getting entertained by these comments right here, man. These you guys got to
all right.
popping
Who do you
off
want?
fan base.
What comment do you want to address? Any of them? while I'm
No,
doing this?
Mike's doing a great job interviewing Ant. I think Ant needs another. These comments are the best.
Well, the thing is, I figured so we didn't really we were supposed to talk about this Anglican Archbishop.
No, this is way better, dude. This is way better. I want to hear about this demonic reaction from your wife, because I mean, we just went through, not that my wife had a demonic reaction, but it was a journey getting back to the Latin Mass as well. So continue.
Yeah, so it was I wanted to start going, and there was something, I'm not even kidding, I don't know why. It was just she wanted nothing to do with it. So it and I'm taking my son with me. So I came across it by accident. I wanted to go to confession one day, and the only place for confession was Holy Innocents in Manhattan. So I go to confession, and after confession, I just walk out and there's a low mass going on. Really strange. But then I want to bring my whole family, and my wife was just so resistant to it. And it almost felt like there was this preternatural situation preventing me from bringing my family there. And I couldn't explain it. And I kept trying to force her and tell her and explain it to her. And she was like, I don't know what the hell's going on with you, but this is not what I signed up for. She thought I lost my freaking mind. She really thought I lost my mind. And I wound up giving up on trying to convince her. And I started teaching my kids how to pray the rosary in Latin in the den while she would be cleaning the kitchen and doing dishes. And this went on for a while. And one day she her freaking heart just melted from me teaching because my daughter, when she finally learned how to pray the rosary in Latin, she learned how to play the Hail Mary in Latin, she was so freaking excited, and she runs into my wife and she tells and my wife just started crying. And I was like, something's going on here. And she was like, I'll go. I'm like, okay. So she starts coming, and the first one, she didn't want to wear a veil. It was it was so bizarre, man. I'm telling you. And she winds up coming, and that first one, she didn't want to wear a veil. She didn't wear a veil. And I look over at her midway through the mass, and she's just weeping. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, I don't understand. And I didn't try to figure it out. I just put my arm around her and just held her while she cried. She's just my shirt was soaked from her tears from it and stuff. And then we went home, and she was just that was the most beautiful thing I've ever been to. And then it took about 4 of them before she really opened her heart to it. And then one of the most beautiful days of my life was my wife just looked over at me. This was after months of going to the Latin Mass and stuff. And then my wife joined a Bible study with my mom and my sisters. And my wife just looked over at me one day, and she was just I'm deeply in love with Jesus Christ. And it was just I was the happiest guy in the world. You know what I mean? Just having, it wasn't anything I said to her. I didn't convince her of my arguments. I had no sway over her. It was just God moving in her heart. And then ever since then, she's just been amazing,
The Latin Mass will do that. It does take some time. It was a journey for us as well. And that's a beautiful, it's always Our Lady that gets the women, and then she draws her close to Jesus, and it's game over. It was similar, man. We went a couple times. My wife was wrestling with the kids, so it's hard for her to really be involved. And then she started RCIA, or they call it OCIA now, whatever, at our Novus Ordo.
What the heck that's about?
Yeah. And then so after that was done, we went to Mexico. We went to Mass when we were in Mexico. I'll add that too. And then when we got back, we're like, okay, let's try to find. We were trying to do anything except for coming back to the Latin Mass. It was in the back of my head. Just you got to go back. I'm like, nah, 12:30. It's so inconvenient. I was being so lazy. It is. And I'll never forget even her. And it takes her, it was, she's a patient woman. And so for her to lose her patience, this was something. So we went to the Basilica. That was a Reverend Novus Ordo, but it was just, there was something kind of, I don't know how to describe it. Then we went to a Novus Ordo that was close to us. And I still go to this priest. He's one of my confessors, and I think he's, fantastic. He's great. But we went to this Mass, and, the guitars and the tambourine, and there was I struggle with even talking about this, because I'm like, man, is this even, and this is my scrupulosity coming up in real time, is this sinful to talk about it in a disparaging way? This is literally just what happened. We saw a woman in kind of It looks like she was in vestments.
Mhm.
She had like a pectoral cross. And I looked at my wife. I said, what is going on here? Like, this is
It's
so
transgenderism.
it's confusing. So we went up to receive, and my wife kneels. She takes it. I kneel. And then the priest was kind of caught off guard, and he kind of like dropped the Eucharist in my mouth, kind of like just dropped it. And I go back, and I'm just pissed off. The rest of the mass, I'm pissed. My kids, they were like irritated, but it was a different kind of irritation. There was like a spiritual irritation that happened. And we left, and they were going crazy. So we had to leave. We had to leave early. And I said, we're done. We looked at each other, and it was like at the same time we said, yeah, we got to go back to the Latin Mass. And that Sunday after that, we started going to the Latin Mass again. And it's been completely and utterly life-changing. But that moment from my wife, and she loved it. She wore a veil. She wanted to respect the tradition, the whole bit. She goes there. And this was like June.
How long is the drive?
Dude, 15 minutes.
Oh, are you kidding me?
But this is what I'm saying, dude. I know.
Are you kidding me?
I know. Yeah, roast people. I deserve it. I deserve it. 15 minutes. And I'm talking to these other people at the church, and they're driving 3 hours, 2 hours, 4 hours. There's a person that literally drives 3.5 hours, 4 hours every Sunday. And I'm like, man, you are holier than I am.
15 minutes, you lucky.
Yeah, dude.
You
FSSP
lucky.
parish. The priest was taught by Rippiger. This guy is just absolutely two priests there. They're based. One is Polish, one guy is Canadian. And so the moment for her, though, it was that defining moment was when our son Ambrosio was baptized in the traditional rite. We're going through the prayers of exorcism, the salt, the whole bit. I'm like, my mind is blown. I made a tweet today. I said, man, why did they take this away? It blows my mind. And so after he gets consecrated to the Blessed Virgin Mary, we're kneeling there, and he does the blessing of the mothers, and he's like, chucking holy water at her. I look over at her, and she's just like gone with tears, just a mess. And since then, dude, she even messaged me last night, and there's been a conversation last couple of weeks. She's like, this has been one of the best things that's ever happened in my life. Like, thank you for taking me to Latin Mass. I've never adored my faith more than I do right now. The liturgy, the community, the reverence, the everything. She's like, this is like what I've been seeking my whole life. And I didn't know that I needed this, but I needed it. And I thank you. And I'm like, man, glory to Christ for that, dude. It's such a grace.
The last time I went to a Novus Ordo was during COVID. Because so what happened was my son made his confirmation, and I had him in the diocesan CCD program, and I wasn't driving an hour to my Latin Mass to put him in that one, so I just put him in the diocesan the diocesan CCD program, and he made his confirmation during COVID, and I went up to the priest and I go, can me and my family receive on the tongue? And he goes, I'm sorry, I can't let you. And I'm like,
what?
I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, I've taught my children all that they should never receive in the hand.
Mm-hmm.
So my kids have never received in the hand. And my son's making his confirmation, and they're telling him he can't receive on the tongue. And I'm like, I'm so mad. And I'm like, Nick, I'm not going to go up and receive. I said, but it's your confirmation. I want you to receive. So he goes up to receive, and he receives, and 3 people in a row behind him go up. They have their masks on. They put one hand out. They go to pull their mask down. All 3 of them drop the host on the ground.
Oh,
3 people in a row. I was like horrified. Everybody else in the parish is thinking nothing of it. And I'm just I'm watching this debacle during COVID of people fiddling with their masks and putting one hand out, and they're all dropping the host. And I went up to the priest after Mass, and I go, I said, I don't want to make a big thing of it. I go, but that was disgraceful what I watched in there. And I was just so angry. And after that, I pulled my 2 daughters out of the diocesan CCD program. I went to my Latin Mass parish, and I spoke with the priest, and I told him the whole story of what happened. And I said, I'm not putting my kids back through that program. I want to catechize my children from home. And he was like, okay, that's okay. We could do that. We'll set that up. So I was able to catechize my daughters from home in my son's catechism book in confirmation class. There was they were talking about who is part of the church and people of goodwill. Now, who are people of goodwill? It's Christians. It's Catholics, Christians, Jews, and Muslims, and trying
Stop
to insinuate that they're all part of the church. This is a diocesan CCD program. I've never been so furious in my life. Like, you have no idea. I lost it.
I can't.
I'm not putting my kids through this. Like, I'm not putting my kids through this program. It's not happening.
That's all. But that's how kids lose the faith, and that was one of the that was one of the inspirations for us to go back to the Latin Mass. It's not just for our own formation. I said I want to give my children every possible opportunity, or no possible opportunity, to leave the faith, and every possible grace to cling on to maintain their fidelity to grace, so that their faith continues throughout their lives. And I see that it's starting to produce fruit, dude. Like my little 3.5-year-old wears a veil the whole time at Mass, just like her mother. My 2-year-old is wanting to do the same thing. You know, my son is a non-crying baby at Mass, maybe because he's a Latin Mass baby.
He's got a Novus Ordo baby.
Yeah. And you just start to see those fruits come to the surface. And, you know, it takes a while for the kids to produce that Mass muscle, right? When they're that little, you know, you're sitting through, like, I don't know, man, people are talking about their low Masses being 35 minutes, dude. At ours, it's still an hour. Our high Masses are like hour 40.
35-minute low Mass. Stop it.
Like,
especially if you get a homily. But I'll be honest, an hour low Mass, I'm thrilled with, because the high Mass is an hour and a half, and sometimes you're just by the end of it. Like, I like a low Mass. And if there was a 30, like if you go to a daily Latin Mass, because there is one in Manhattan at Holy Innocents, and it is about 40 minutes, I'm grateful for it. Like, if I'm going after work, I don't want to be there for an hour and 10 minutes. I want to be there for 35, 40 minutes, and that's fine. But if you go to a daily Novus Ordo Latin Mass, it's 35 minutes. There's no music. There's no anything. Like, you're just kind of going through it. There's no homily or anything. You just kind of go through it, you know?
Yeah, I went to we made the mistake of going to a low Mass with our children one time. I'm like, I'm never doing that again. That's a daily Mass thing you do without kids, at least at first, until they're older. Otherwise, you're just asking for trouble. No, it's so funny. I know I mention every time I'm on the show, but like that conversation we had about worshiping like a man, I'm like, you can be trad and go to the Novus Ordo. I'm like, man, I'm like eating my words so harshly.
Well, that's kind of. Did you watch Kwasniewski on Matt Frad?
Yeah, incredible interview, dude.
So he kind of talked about how, like, once you're introduced to tradition, like, it kind of militant, like, it makes you militant about it, you know? And then all of a sudden you just like, it's not that you are judging people who go to the Novus Ordo. You want them to go. You're like, no, you got to go. You don't understand what you're missing. You have to enjoy this. You have to appreciate this. And that's kind of where it comes from. But it takes a little time to, like, get into the culture of it, because it's a totally different culture.
It is. And I think I've heard some people have some negative experiences with some of the parishioners there. I really think this is mostly a projection, because we're so used to, you know, us being validated, whether it's in the participation of the Mass or greeters or people in the pews, like that sort of like casual, friendly setting that you get at a lot of Novus Ordos. And people are used to getting validated. So when they go and they see people that are contemplating, or they're wrestling 10 children, they've got veils and suits on and they're more serious, it's like, well, this seems stuck up. It's like, no, it's just, you're just not getting the hellos. It is. And that was us. It was projection. And then I'm not joking, dude. It was such an interesting reflection me and my wife were having. The last multiple weekends in a row, we've been hanging out with different families, and every single Sunday since going back, there's a different family coming up and introducing to us themselves to us and inviting us over to their home with their 8 kids, 9 kids. These are some of the most beautiful people that I've ever met in my entire life.
Yeah, dude, it's mostly Novus Ordo Catholic people who grew up in the Novus Ordo, who take their faith seriously, and they're looking for something like a little more serious than their Novus Ordo. Like, so what you get in these trad parishes is not stuck up trads. What you're actually getting are like people who went to the Novus Ordo but like wanted to go deeper into Catholicism, so they congregate at these parishes, and now you have an entire parish of everyone who takes their faith seriously. Like they believe everything the church teaches. So you're having your kids be around other people who they're raising their kids the same way as you. It's not like going to a Novus Ordo parish where a lot of people that go, and I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of people that go just kind of go for heaven insurance out of cultural reasons, kind of, you know, things like that. So it winds up being transformative for your family and for the community there. It's pretty awesome.
And I have to give a shout out to Brian Holdsworth. That guy's got like the patience of a saint. That dude is such a good. He goes to the same parish. We go to the same parish, and his family is just tremendous, beautiful people.
Yeah.
And he was just that guy, always like, come back here, man. And I remember talking to him on the phone, about us before coming back, and he was always so gracious. And Karen and I, my wife and I, have decided to kind of try to be that people to that type of person to the other people in our lives that we know are Catholic, going to a Novus Ordo. It's like, hey, come here, like, you're welcome here. You have no idea what you're missing out on. Like, we're trying to extend that olive branch and evangelize, because if it wasn't for Brian, I don't know if we would have gone back. It was it is hard, at least at first, looking the way that I do. Like, my wife's got a sleeve down to her hand as well. We look like a gangster couple. We don't look trad. We don't look
Nobody's
trad.
judging you. Got it.
No, you. It's so funny. People are just like, look, because there's nobody at the parish that looks like us, and it's not about us. But at first, you're like, man, they're looking at us like, who are I'm trying to cover up, especially after that conversation that I had with the priest, when I was like, hey, Father, please, like, baptize my son. And we've only been coming here for 6 weeks again. And, Brian had to be there to vouch for my character and whatnot. And he's like, totally fine. He goes, but were you like some kind of a criminal or something? What's these tattoos? He's like, make sure you cover them up, son, when you come into church. Don't scandalize anybody else. I said, yes, Father. And I left, and I was so on fire. I love that, being called out like that. It was so good, dude.
Yeah, some men like being being called out on stuff. It's not like, we're not these, especially like a masculine guy. Like, you want to be told you did something wrong and you want to be corrected on it. And it's like, okay, good. I got a priest who cares about my soul.
That's exactly it. And so every time, we go to church, we're both trying to cover up as best we can, and it's stuffy and it's hot. I said, but Lord, this is a penance. I remember, like, briefly, like, sacrifice. I kind of threw in the nugget. Hey, I'd love to altar serve. He goes, no, you're a distraction. Like, you're not doing that.
Yeah.
I said, okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's fine. I'll just sit here and revel in that. But it's okay. It's a good thing. It's been a beautiful, beautiful journey, man. That's why I don't understand, and maybe it's my naivete, when I think about, man, why is there such a war on tradition or against tradition? It just makes no sense to me. And people can explain it like I know the answer. It just makes no sense to me at all.
It makes no sense, especially because it's attracting young people.
Yeah.
And it's like there's such a meaning crisis in the youth now, because everybody's so stuck on their devices, and they're looking for something real. And there's something so real about the liturgy that's been celebrated for 1,000 years. It's like taking a time capsule or a time machine into the Middle Ages, and you're seeing something so different than you're presented by the culture. So it is countercultural to everything we know, and it's this awesome tool for evangelization, and they just don't care. And it's, I asked the question the other day, what do you think is the motive driving the men who are restricting this thing? Like, what do you think is the actual motive behind it? Because it could seem demonic. Like, I can't, I have a hard time putting good motives on the men who are restricting this stuff. But there's something not normal about them wanting to take this beautiful thing that is attracting young people and setting these young people on fire for the faith. And they want to then, like, the people that love it then want to go and bring others to it. You have this beautiful, amazing, a tool for evangelization, and you're trying to stifle it. And I mean, what do you think is the motivation behind that?
I think on one hand, the demonic argument has to be there. There's probably some of that. I think the other piece is probably just naivete and men being a product of the culture that they were raised up in. A lot of people, I think this was Dr. Kozaneski, I think that's how you pronounce his name, mentioned this too, is that a lot of them just truly believe that he said, and it was great, you got a Novus Ordo harder, like, and they fully have bought into that whole spirit of the age thing, where it's like, no, tradition is a war against this thing that should change with the culture to bring more people into it. And but then, okay, I can understand that to a degree, even though whatever. But on the other hand, it's like, well, why are you making the lives of these people deliberately harder? Like, them being relegated to a parish that's purposely too small or, you know, further away. You're like, but why does this seems to me like you're slapping them in the face. Like, this is not just you want people to come into this new version of the church or whatever, that you're like chastising them. It's like, why? You know, and the reason this comes to mind too is that our archbishop moved to actually my hometown. He was relocated because the other guy stepped down. And Canada, we haven't really had any of these problems. As woke and liberal as Canada is, unfortunately, we actually have decent bishops that just don't restrict the Latin Mass. There hasn't been this kind of argument. But we don't have an archbishop right now. We don't have a bishop right now. So I'm like, man, could this be a possibility that we get somebody that then suppresses...
Well, you're in a fraternity parish. I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine. Ultimately, even if the 1230 sticks, we don't get a bigger church and different times. It doesn't matter. It just you start to kind of think about these things. I really feel for the people of like North Carolina. It's just like that grieves my heart to think about that.
It's Charlotte. I mean, I saw Nick Cavazos put out a video the other day that I don't know if it was Garcia. He was leaving LA and he shut down the Latin Mass all over, and then he comes into Texas and he starts shutting them down in Texas. And it's like, you know, you have these stable communities where people like, it's just evil. I don't know. I don't see any way around it. It's evil, and it's because it so contradicts their idea of what Catholicism is. They hate preconciliar Catholicism. They hate it.
Yeah. And I mean, you can see why, you know, a lot of people with their, I guess, through emotionality and whatever, all the sedes are going to get mad at me. It leads them to sedevacantism or whatever. You know, it's really funny though, too, on a different note. I remember having this conversation last week when I was at this person's acreage. There are 9 kids and whatever. And the topic of the SSPX came up. And it's so funny how, like, when you're a new Catholic, you kind of get brainwashed on what the SSPX is or isn't. And as you become sort of more like traditional minded, you're like, man, these people are like unnecessarily, you know, like hurled at. They're schismatic, they're this, they're that. They don't realize like the significance of, you know, Marcel.
Most of them are just Catholic, man.
The formation of those young men in the seminary it's insane. And the piety of the people that go to these we have one that's like an hour away. I've never been, but like I said, if our Latin Mass ever got shut down, I'm like, I'm going there, dude.
You know what you don't see with the SSPX? You don't see their priests being e-priests and dancing on TikTok and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have that crazy desire for attention, and it's like, I don't know, they seem pretty grounded to me.
I mean, you saw that Jubilee where they I think they were at the Vatican, the pilgrimage. It's like, those are like strapping young men entering the seminary. Like, dude, it kind of lights you on fire. And I think that's the direction the church is headed in. I don't know. I'm drinking or smoking too much hopium, but I think that's where it's headed, dude. Maybe it's because I'm a new Catholic, relatively new Catholic, and I'm kind of wet behind the ears still. But you know, you want to, you know, have some semblance of hope.
Yeah, I think hope is important for us. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to, I said the first hour we were going to kind of just riff. The second hour, we're going to open it up to, we never even talked about the freaking Anglican Archbishop.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of whatever.
I actually thought it's like, no matter how crazy things seem in the Catholic Church, you see what is going on in other places, and you're like, all right, there's still some kind of like, Jesus Christ is still protecting his church. Like, there's the level of craziness that's going on in other places is not happening here. We're not having female priests. It's just, thank God he's still, you know, preventing anything from going that off the wall. So we could still, that was kind of, you know, how I saw it. It's they have just completely gone off the rails over there.
I mean, there's nothing new to be said about this type of thing. I mean, it's just the product of Protestantism. This is just what happens. I mean, I'm not surprised, you know. So I mean, that's why we didn't touch on it very much, because there's not much to say about that. You're like, yeah, it's ridiculous, but what else do you expect?
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to put the StreamYard link into the locals chat first. So let me just.
Are you keeping this stream on YouTube, or are you going?
We're going to keep it on YouTube, but we're going to open up the local. Like, so if you're a locals member, you will get a chance to jump on with us. I'm going to put the link in there. Before I put it in there, though, I'm going to send it to my friend because my friend has been asking to come on and ask advice. So I'm going to let him get the first crack at it. And now I'm going to send it to StreamYard. Let's just see if he comes on. I want to give him a shot because he's been asking me, when are you doing your next call-in show? So I'm sending it to him first, and then I'm going to send it to locals. While we're waiting on that, I had one story that we could cover.
Cool.
I wanted to know what you thought about this. Hang on, let me. So this guy, it's kind of crazy, this story. So I want to see what you as a father think about this.
He stood up with me on top of him, just stood up and threw me 10, 15 feet across the room and went after her.
Dean Tipton says December 7th, 2015 is a night that changed his life. He says his children woke him up. He then found a man attacking his children.
And when I got to the top of the stairs, he attacked me. He come at me with the knife.
The night took a tragic turn with the loss of a life, his 6-year-old son, Logan. Dean says immediately after Logan's death, he lost his will to live.
I laid in bed. I gave up. I gave up on life. I gave up on my family. I gave up on everybody. I just wanted to die.
In the years since, the family has done their best to cope, but mentions they are mentally and emotionally scarred. And they are hurt that Ronald Exantis will no longer be behind bars.
Everybody deserves a fighting chance to have justice for them, and it's not.
I've had my talks with God because I'm not afraid to tell you all. I told the court, if I ever cross paths with him, I will kill the man. I will kill him where he stands.
So that guy took the life of his 6-year-old, and he was supposed to serve 20 years, and they're letting him out in 10. Oh. And this father said, if I ever come across that man, I'm going to take his life. And I'm like, yeah. Like, yeah. I like, what do you do? What do you do other than that?
I don't think, I mean, everybody could piety signal and just say a virtue signal, say, you just forgive that man. I'm not that holy of a man. I'm not that holy of a man. You call me flawed, but there's no way. And maybe that's the one time in my life, maybe not the one time, but I sin by presumption and just say, I'm going to kill this man and then go to my confessor the next day. That's just what I'm going to do.
Oh, man. I don't condone it, but I understand it. It's like that. You ever see that video of the father, his son was molested, and they're bringing the guy who did it through, I don't know if it's an airport or something, and the father's just sitting there waiting, and he just popped them.
Yeah. And
when that guy went to court, the jury wouldn't convict him. The jury was like, not guilty.
Yeah. Like, well, yeah. I just, and there's part of me, maybe this is naivete. I think God, I think God would understand that. I just think God would understand that. Yeah, it's not the civil magistrate, whatever. It's you, but it is that is justice being played out.
But that's the point, right? Like with all this talk about the death penalty, and it's like, well, no, we have modern prison systems, and the person's going to be able to. And it's like, this guy's doing 10 years for taking the life of a 6-year-old. Are you insane?
No,
that's not
dude.
Justice. Like, justice would be what that father is about to do.
You're rendering one what they're owed. You're rendering God what he is owed. It's like you shed one man's blood, your blood is going to be shed. That's Genesis, dude.
And I almost think the father has a duty to do it.
Yeah. I cannot disagree. I mean, just listening to that story makes my blood boil. I go and look at my children. I can imagine somebody just like breathing air in the wrong way in front of them.
With your kids.
It's like there's just no chance. I fully understand them. Anybody that says otherwise, dude, I don't know. Maybe they're holier than me. But there's absolutely no chance, I would let that fly.
All right. So my friend Patrick is going to join us first before I send the link to StreamYard. So what happened, Patrick? You don't want to put your camera on?
Yo, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
What's up? What's going on, Anthony?
Nothing much. So Patrick, for anybody that doesn't know, Patrick came on the Italy pilgrimage, and he's him and I. He lives on Long Island. Him and I have hung out several times. Me and him are going away in December.
Be
So what's
careful.
going on?
I don't want to get doxxed.
So how you doing, bud? What's going on?
So this is the thing. This is what I wanted to bring up to you guys, because Anthony, I recently made my first quote tweet, and it's actually almost kind of about that, because I know on the show you guys talk a lot about like the trials of men with like the red pill, the black pill, the incels, like all like the degenerate, like just sex everywhere, like adultery, like all of those different factions. And I think kind of the answer to the problem, and I wanted to get your guys' comment on this, is the idea of like what I was talking about in that post, which is basically that there is a level of greatness of soul that is required of men. Because in the red pill, what you're seeing is that, you know, greatness and that like striving, but it's for vanity. And it's not even for vanity, even if it's not inherently wrong, it's for the sake of itself. But I feel like if men decided to do great things, not for the sake of themselves, but for the sake of God, and try to emulate figures like that, like from the Crusades, like St. Louis IX or St. Fernando III, like you don't have to be like the bench pressing 500 person, like even in your own sphere, emulating that, I think that would solve a lot of the problems. And to end my point, like Father Ripperger was on, and he was talking about like how in the church, like a lot of like the graces have kind of like been abandoned, and like God took them away, and like we were seeing all this shit going on. All this stuff going on. So to end my point, you're seeing all this stuff like going on in the world, this debauchery, and I almost see the same thing with men. I feel like almost kind of in a way, like because we're not seeing a lot of spiritual fathers in the church, and I feel like that is almost kind of like a divine chastisement on men, that we have to really depend on God's grace to be able to really develop that. So yeah, I don't know. That's like my thoughts. Like, I don't know what you guys think.
So, all right. So that wasn't a question, but no, you're right. We are dealing with a complete lack of fathers right now, right? And that's why, especially for you guys that are fathers, your role as priest and father of your home has never been more important.
I think if you're going to show true, magnanimity, greatness of soul, I think you ought to emulate that in every sense. The supernatural, of course, and in the natural, that being secondary. And so, because I see a lot of on both sides. So the red pill is very self-indulgent, where our faith calls us to be, selfless, acting accordance to self-denial and humility. But on the other hand, you get a lot of trad guys. I'm going to call out the pencil neck trads here for a second, that don't care at all about the natural, and it's all supernatural. And hey, listen, these guys are very pious, but they're also just like, their bodies are just transport mechanisms for their heads. It's like, yeah, how about be the guy that is the monastic warrior, like the crusader, that is lives a life of penance and mortification, fortitude, temperance, prudence, justice, the whole bit, lives the faith, but also like looks like he lives the faith. These are also, this is also a tool of evangelization. It is another way to exude power, not just with your family, but to the world around you. It's like, listen, if we believe in something that is the true good and the beautiful, why wouldn't you embody it in the natural as well? That doesn't mean you have to be the guy that bench presses 500 pounds, but like, do something with your body, dude. It's all encompassing, my guy. All of it.
Yeah, we are.
That's all. I just wanted to get your guys' take on all of this stuff, because this is like an interesting topic.
All right, Patrick, we'll talk behind the scenes.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See you, bud.
God bless, man.
Okay. All right. We got Jacob up next. Jacob, what's happening, brother?
Hello, sirs. How are y'all doing?
Very good. What's going on,
man?
So my question's kind of simple. So I am struggling with kind of the line between venting and gossip when it comes to working. So you deal with the person that does the bare minimum, the person that kind of irritates everyone. And, I think it's healthy to, vent about your coworkers sometimes. But where does kind of that line between venting turn into gossip, turn into detraction?
Venting is another
things of
word
that
for
nature?
gossip. It's just a misnomer. It's another,
Really?
in my opinion, it's another word for gossip. I think it's a very, very, very effeminate trait when you got to vent about a coworker. I just think it's retarded, personally. If you want to vent a problem, go talk to the person. That's my opinion. I'm not coming at you,
Fair
dude.
point.
I just like venting. I'm Italian. I grew up like, yeah, we just got to vent. It's like, no, we don't. We don't got to vent. So
I don't know. I vent on here a little bit.
Understood.
It's about public statements is a little bit different. Maybe that's a little bit different. But these little things we have in our private lives, like, I don't know. No venting.
Yeah, I would say, especially if that venting is like bringing something up in your, somebody's asking if I'm sick or if I have allergies or something. I actually have a headache right now. I'm hoping it just goes away kind of quick. So if you guys see me like rubbing my temple, it's almost gone. I know it is. So just bear with me, guys. All right. Yeah, I would say gossip's a rough one, but if you're dwelling on it and it's causing something in your heart to like dislike the person more, I would cut it out. And especially if you're making someone else dislike that person through what you're saying, you have to be very cautious of that. But I'm guilty of it too. So I don't know if I'm the greatest one to give advice on that, because I've done it on this show. So
it's a near occasion of sin too. Like when is the line crossed when you're actually gossiping, you're detracting or what have you? You just don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah. Just go punch him in the face. Much healthier.
Yeah, Wes, totally.
Yeah. All right, Jacob, we're gonna go to the next call. Thanks for calling.
Bro.
Celahas, I'm not bringing you on. David, what's happening, brother?
Hey, Anthony, good to see you again. And Mr. Pantile, it's a pleasure to meet you. I love your work and you're an inspiration. I felt kind of called out in a sense, pencil neck trad, because I'm aspiring.
I love you, bro.
I like to think I'm in the act of becoming currently, because I don't even go to Latin Mass regularly. I actually work as a youth minister in my Novus Ordo parish, though I would like to go to Latin Mass more, and I've accidentally converted a few kids to the Latin Mass. So anyways, that aside, I got kind of a two-parter question for you, if you don't mind. The first is a really quick part, and the second's a little more in depth. But the first part, I might be a silly question, but I'm curious. What is the software you guys use for your stream setup here? Like you got the little windows coming up and all that. StreamYard. Okay. I'm familiar with OBS in general, but I haven't really gone too in depth yet.
OBS is probably better. You could probably do a lot more with it.
Anthony would not know how to use OBS.
No, Rob doesn't even know how.
It seems like it's a little bit to get into, but once you get into it, you can go places fast, from what I understand. But that kind of leads into the next part too. So I've been kind of going back and forth for like years now about I have a YouTube channel and I've posted some things to it and streamed a little bit to it, mostly video game content. But like I've been going back and forth about the possibility of doing some sort of Catholic or Catholic adjacent content. And something that you guys said a while back really spoke to me was not too long. It was probably within the past few months, that you guys wanted to have this channel to not be like hyper intellectual. Like we're not here to what was the word? Not proselytize, but we're not here to be.
We're not an apostolate. We're not a ministry.
Yes, exactly.
We're just Catholic guys talking about Catholic things.
Right. And being a younger millennial for all of my childhood and to the present, like all of the, especially like video game adjacent content and any kind of like media related content, which Anthony, I know you're not big on video games, but like I get that. Like there's a lot of bad there, and I feel like I have a pretty good.
I'm not like anti-video game, because I think
you see the evil in it though. Like
I would be such a hypocrite if I talked about video games, because I'm on Twitter so much and I don't see much of a difference. Like I'm wasting my time on a screen either way. So
my excuse is I tend to lean more family friendly Nintendo slop anyways. So but yeah, like so I just been going back and forth like about whether that would make sense to have a channel where I kind of like you guys just kind of shoot it with some friends and talk back and forth and have little conversations, but just we happen to be Catholic people and therefore we'll that'll automatically come out in conversation. And same kind of thing for streaming or playing video games or talking about video games, where it's like, there's just, most of the content creators in that sphere for all my childhood on to the present it's been largely dominated by far left, progressive, atheist kind of creators with very few in between. Yeah. Also, like, Destiny's a good example. Like, but even like the more kind of chill people on YouTube are trivia. Yeah, I should start with the trivia show. But yeah, like even some of the more chill people that aren't like as outwardly political, like once you kind of see them slip in jokes or talk about things on Twitter, it's very clear, like, okay, like all these people are like very hardcore progressive. So like, I don't know. I just wanted to hear your thoughts. Would it make sense to throw in a voice, try that out? Do you see any good in that?
If you're going to try and make money doing it, don't. you have no idea how difficult it is to make money doing podcasting, and
it'd be a hobby.
But if you just want to do it as a hobby for fun and like try to build like a small little audience, do it.
Yeah,
I couldn't suggest anything more. It's because this show, even if I wasn't making money at this point, has become such a fruitful thing in my life. I touched on it the other night a little bit, where I had like a few addictions in my life that I was like, the community of this show helped me get rid of those addictions, and I've been able to. It's helped my family, it's helped everything, and just having somewhere to come and talk about the things that matter to me and around other Catholic men has been something huge for me. But I'm going to tell you, like, the market, like if it's for financial reasons, it's a very long, slow build, and it would matter your motivations.
Yeah, that's something I figure if on some freak chance I hit it big, then I'll double down on it and see what happens. But I'm not expecting anything to come of it that way. It'd be, if honestly, and this is kind of silly as it is, but it'd be an excuse for me to actually play the mini games that I own. I have a bad habit of buying games and not making time for myself to
Thursday. Thursday's trying to do like gaming and stuff like that. He'd be
kidding.
Be a good contact. Yeah.
I'll take a look at that. Awesome. Thank you.
All I can say about that is have a direction for it.
Yeah.
And it's either 100% or nothing.
Yep.
100% or nothing. And if you want to do something financial with it, you have to have something you can actually offer men that inspires them forward.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like solving a problem in your own life that you can help other guys solve in a way that calls them forward. You can do that financially. But if it's a hobby, even if it's a hobby, you got to do it right. Just please do not become an apologist. Do not do that bullshit. Please do not do that. No more.
No.
Nobody wants to hear that stuff. Nobody wants to hear that stuff anymore. If it's just a bunch of dudes like us that kind of talk
it's the Nintendo Thomist.
Nintendo Thomist.
That's actually got a ring to it.
I love it.
And David, I saw a comment too. It sounds like you can speak reasonably well as well. So like, I mean, I think it would go well
sometimes
if you consistently. Consistency is the game, but do it hard, 100% or nothing.
You caught me on a good day where I'm stuttering, 10% of how much I normally would. So
go and do it.
Fine, David. If you do start something, let me know, and we'll try and help promote it for you.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'll announce, since my usernames are obscure and goofy, I'll just announce myself as David if I do. So thank you.
Yeah, if you follow me on Twitter, you follow me on Twitter?
I don't have a Twitter.
Okay. Well, if you leave a message in locals, just let me know, and I'll throw it out on Twitter, and then we'll mention it on the show for you. I'll always look out for our local supporters. So
awesome.
You got it, buddy.
Thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. Keep doing what you're doing.
You got it, David. Nice to meet you.
Yep.
All right. Who we got next? Let's see. I see. Oh, we got to do. Oh, all right. What's up, Tommy?
We are tonight's entertainment.
What's up?
What it is. All right, I'll get straight to it. So, for the last 40 years, and at least 4 popes in what they have taught, permitted, and practiced say that Vatican II, and thus the Catholic Church, teaches that the 1986 Assisi meeting, the gathering of 30 plus false religions praying together with Catholic leaders, that is the Catholic Church. So is it
my guy,
Catholic teaching, or is that an act of apostasy?
Dude, I love you already, because on X we have a good relationship. I love you already. It's cool seeing your face. I thought you'd actually be Asian, like Like,
Hey, I got one for you after this remark, though. But yeah, what are you saying?
Tommy, stop your bullshit. What do you want from us right now?
How
Like,
is
I'm
that
like doing
bullshit?
this with you.
Okay,
Like,
I'm not becoming a sede, dude. There's no way.
The question is, Assisi, is that an act of apostasy by John Paul II or not? Or is
I think it was just
let me
terrible
give you another
decision-making.
option. Let me give you another option. It would be an act of apostasy if I did it, but because he is the Pope or Bishop or something, he has a special privilege where he gets to get away with that. Like,
I think,
I'm
Tommy,
trying to get your
honestly,
position. I want to know
honestly
your
think-
position on this. You know my position on this.
I honestly think you were better off being Mormon than Sede. Like, you should go back to Mormonism. That's what I think. Dude, I'm not doing this tonight. I love you, brother.
You know who's closer to Mormon is you, actually, but we're not going to get into that.
I love you, Tommy.
Wait,
You're always,
what was Mike going to
to
say, though? What was Mike going to say? I have a good one. Mike's going to love the other thing I had to say, but I don't know.
I just think if you guys actually thought this through and like took a Pascal's wager approach to your faith, you guys would like get off the internet, touch grass, and submit to the Pope, and not play with your salvation the way that you do. So you can come at me for that, bro. I just say that I say that in charity and in love, but like you guys got to get off the internet, and go touch grass.
All right.
I'm
well,
knock it off. You know that's not what
no,
this show
no.
is.
Let me.
I just like hang with us and talk. I'm fun. Like, if you're gonna start doing
some
this, like,
things that
stop
my
it.
Uncle Mike will like. Okay. So. Maybe interesting. Okay, so you know at the gym when they get the cable machine, and then they take it and they go like 30 yards down the end of the gym. You know what I'm saying? So I was thinking, once you get past 4 feet, wouldn't the distance from the machine be inversely proportionate to the gains in strength and muscle, right? You get what I'm saying? Like the scientific weightlifters, they take the cable like 30 yards across the gym and they lay on their back and you do the scientific weightlifting stuff.
You gotta call into the Latin Slavs for this question. All right, Tommy, we're letting you go, bro. I love you, man.
Right.
He's such a sicko.
That dude's hilarious.
I love him.
He's
But like,
he's so funny, bro.
I'm not doing the setting thing. He is funny. He's got a very good sense of humor. He's
hilarious. Not serious at all.
All right, redeemability. Your mic's off. What do you got?
Yeah. Alrighty. So, just a little background here. I've been attending the Latin Mass for, let's say, about 5 years since like post-COVID, a little bit after COVID. Basically, my wife and I moved back to my hometown because, well, expenses. Everything's super expensive nowadays. We want to save some money up for a house, live near the TLM in the future. Problem is, the TLM out here got TC'd pretty early into it, back in 21. So we're kind of dealing with the wreckage of things, and I want to kind of hear from y'all because I'm trying to rebuild this place as much as I can while I'm here and make sure I leave it better than it was left. We have a good priest. He's sympathetic. He told me like we can do vespers after I asked him. So I just want to hear, outside of vespers, what would you maybe suggest I pitch to the priest to make sure we get this like as good and like trad as we can?
You're stuck at a Novus Ordo?
Yeah, it's a reverent one, but it's still the Novus Ordo. You know what I mean? It's Latin, Gregorian chants, all that. It's going to be set up to become a TLM whenever or if ever this TC stuff gets lifted. But it's going to be a Novus Ordo.
When you say reverent, like does he have altar girls? Does he have like what?
No.
What is reverent to you? That's what I want to know.
Everything that would be in a TLM is there. It's just altar boys. It's ad orientem. It's everything that a TLM celebrant would do, except that it's.
So it's pretty unicorn. Like it's really a unicorn you got.
Yeah, exactly.
See if you could add Gregorian chant and as much Latin as possible.
We got it. We already got that.
I mean, I don't know.
Why are you upset, my guy?
Yeah.
I'm not really upset. I'm just thinking like, what would y'all suggest outside of adding like a vespers or something to where I guess we could make this parish a little more full of life as like an FSSP would be or something. I'm not upset by it.
Separate the men and women. Make the women go to separate masses.
I don't think that's possible. Man.
If babies cry, throw them out. I mean, I don't know what you're looking for. It sounds like you got the best of the situation you could possibly have. So I don't know.
Yeah, if I had access to that kind of Novus Ordo, I mean, I wouldn't really be upset. I mean, ultimately, I'd still just try to go to the TLM, because that's where you're going to get the fullness of it. But if you're in a place where TC is, heavily enforced, I think you got it, man. I think you got the best of both worlds, and a lot of people would love to be in your position. So go in, don't try to change things, and just be, just immerse yourself in it as best you can.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, guys.
All right, brothers. Nice talking to you.
God bless, bro.
Okay, we got Catholic Canadian. What's happening, bro?
Oh my guy, what's up, dude?
What is up, Mike? Is my audio working?
Yeah, you're good, bro. You're good.
All right, man. That guy in the video at the beginning, it's pretty justified. I think if anyone touches your child, does anything like that,
straight up,
pop them. Much as you want a virtue signal, say, be Charlie Kirk's wife. Oh, I forgive you. No.
Couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it.
For context, too, Scott's in my men's group, so me and this dude are pretty close. So, fellow Canuck. Good to see you, Scott.
Anthony, I had to ask you, like, if you're like some big, muscly, masculine guy, wouldn't you find it kind of? Would you be a pansy and not want to do cold showers for Lent? Or would you complain about that? Would you make it such a big deal?
You're calling me out on the live
to a
stream
group every week and tell them how hard it was? Or?
You're calling me out on a live stream. Anyways, and during Lent, I tried to do cold showers, and after like 5 days in the middle of Alberta, I was like, I ain't doing this. These pipes are too cold.
They became lukewarm.
Yeah, I was like, can I just stop doing them?
All right,
Yeah,
all right. They won't be scalding hot, but like,
Call me out.
I'll tone a little bit of the heat down for you guys. But.
Yeah, call me out. That's fair, dude. Nice one, bro. Come on now.
All right, I didn't really have much.
Is the men's group in person or is it online?
No, it's all online. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
we'll never let
it
down.
Yesterday.
It was nice meeting you, Scott. Unless you got a question, you got an actual question?
No question. Just pray for my wife's delivery of our first child.
Sounds good, Scott. Nice meeting you, bro.
Coming out late, so
we'll see you next week,
tell
brother.
him to hurry up.
Hopefully it's well done.
God bless you, bud.
All right, Matt. What's happening, Matthew?
Oh, yo, what's up, guys? Hey, first I just gotta say I appreciate Ant for being a blue collar Catholic. It's just not super common. And Mike, I used to be obsessed with making gains when I was in my early 20s. So I just appreciate both you guys. So just starting out with that, like I appreciate both the work you guys do. So thank you.
God bless you, bro.
Yeah. So the question I've got, so I live in super rural America. I'm a dairy farmer. There's like hundreds of other farmers in my little town of 1,400 people. We're blessed with a Benedictine monk who says a TLM for us every Sunday. He has daily masses for us at his monastery. It's phenomenal. But the weird thing about it is that I hear on Catholic YouTube, everybody's saying their TLM's bursting at the seams. It's just so many young people. It's just so great. And my wife and I are probably the only two at the TLM under the age of 40. It's just is abnormal, or it feels abnormal. So asking you guys, I thought you two would be good people to ask. Like for rural people, blue collar people, it just doesn't seem like it's catching. It feels like it's too maybe scholarly or theological for blue collar, rural, pretty simple people. What's your guys' recommendation? Northern California, like Baja, Oregon is kind of what we call it. It's the lost coast of California.
And you're saying it's not that many young people there?
No, I'm saying there's no young people there. I'm 29 and I'm the youngest.
Do you know any Novus Ordo Catholics?
Oh yeah. So I meant to say that the two Novus Ordo masses that happened before the TLM are packed. I mean, just absolutely packed. So it's just a weird situation. And it's like, it's not really on me to like save people's souls by going to the TLM. Like if they get a lot out of the Novus Ordo, good for them. But it is just odd because I see this trend everywhere else. And here it's just, it's just kind of, it's kind of lonely, I guess you could say, being the only young person there. So what's your guys' recommendation to like try to get young, kind of just simple people to the TLM? Like what's the best sales pitch you guys got?
I'm going to jump in here real quick, Anthony. And
Yeah, go
'cause
ahead.
I do a lot of work with young dudes. And Matthew, I really appreciate the kind words too, brother. I'm going to call you out a little bit though. You're 29, right? A lot of these dudes overthink really simple problems. You go and be the guy that invites those young people to the TLM. That's it. That's the solution. Simple. Most questions like this, most questions have simple solutions. They're just like not sexy, right? It's like not sexy to do that. So like that's what I would do. I would go and be the guy that evangelizes the young people to TLM, and then that's how you transform your TLM, my guy.
I feel you.
Anthony,
I
what
appreciate
are you doing, my dude?
I'm putting the StreamYard link in the YouTube comments.
This guy's crazy. I'm Italian too, but I'm Swiss Italian, so I'm actually white.
You're not real Italian. Northern Italian's fake.
Hey,
Italian.
I'm up in Como. I mean, that's God's country up there. That's beautiful.
It's fake Italian, bro. Come on. No, man, that's right. What do you think, Anthony? What do you think?
I think if you know Novus Ordo Catholics, you have to be the one to bring them. Like that's how that's going to work. Like if you know people in their lives that actually like believe the Catholic faith, you got to kind of do what Brian Holsworth did to Mike.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Like hold their hand and walk them in, or do you just say, "Hey, like this thing's sick and you need to check it out"? Like that's what
I did. I've dragged multiple people to the Latin Mass, and here's how I presented it to them. I said, "Listen, this is going to be something. You have to present it as, listen, you're going to be taking a step into the Middle Ages. This is something very unique that you're going to see, and you might not get it on your first run around. But if you stick around a little bit, you'll actually wind up seeing like the Catholicism in a way that you've never really experienced before, and get them to go to 2 or 3 in a row. And if you get people to go to 2 or 3 in a row, that's when they'll be hooked."
Yeah, that Taylor Marshall, like go to 4 in a row kind of things. I mean, that's what got me hooked, right? I mean, it really does work. You see it and you're like, wow, this is for real. Like, I feel like I missed out. You guys say it all the time. But yeah, when I went to my first one, it was my brother got married in the TLM and my sister-in-law got married in the TLM. Those were my first 2 I attended. I'm like, man, I've been missing out. I can't believe I got married in the Novus Ordo. I missed out on this. So anyways, no, I appreciate it though.
You got to evangelize,
Bobby,
my dude.
Bobby said, invite them to Mass and lunch after to get them to join you. That's all. It's really the best you could do. So,
hey, in my small town, there's like 1 pizza shop, so I guess that's it, right? That's all I got.
It's even easier then.
Yes, sir. All right, appreciate it, guys.
Keep
Thank
going
you.
And see what you can do. It was nice meeting you, Matthew.
You
all right, I guess nobody else wants to jump on with us, man. That's funny. Last time we did this, it was like 100 people wanted to jump on, but we can hang on. Let me see what else I got. We got plenty of stuff. I mean, unless you got to go, Mike.
No, I'm good, man.
Yeah,
I'm good, man.
Hang out, right?
Made the time. I'm not half cut like you are, but I'm hanging in there.
Well, so my headache's gone now, thank God. Like that was like I was in bad shape for a good 40 minutes. I was in bad shape. Oh, we got another. We have
pretty mutual.
We have a what happened? What happened?
Did you just hang up?
Yeah, I don't know if he hung up on us. This is a good story for you, actually. Being a Canadian. This is a good story for you being a Canadian. Let me see.
Future Dominican. I was getting excited there for like half a second. Come on, man.
Let me just say, hang on. I remember that. Hang on.
Can't believe there aren't more callers. What's wrong with
Yeah, I would have last time we did this, they were like nonstop. Let me just say, I want to pull this story up. I'm so bad at this stuff. Rob's so much better. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we have Canada euthanizes elderly woman with dementia. Sharon Kirky was published by the National Post, reporting on the Ontario dementia patient died by euthanasia, even though the request was made by the family. A frail woman in her late 80s with dementia received maid after a family member brought forward a request for an assisted death, a new report reveals. The woman's life was ended after a maid provider deemed the woman had given her final express consent to proceed based on her ability to repeat a question and squeeze the provider's hand. This case was featured in the recent report from Ontario Maid. The case is among a half a dozen flagged in the latest report from the office. So basically, like I'm trying to understand what's going on in Canada. Like you guys have this crazy healthcare system over there that kind of pushes this on people, and like this is when you talk about John Paul II talking about like the culture of death. I don't understand how crazy this has gotten over there.
Yeah, it's sad too, because our origin as a country is very Catholic, more Catholic than the United States will ever be, from like an origin standpoint. You know,
yeah, for sure.
And how staunchly Catholic Canada was at the beginning. And unfortunately, those Atlantic provinces are a shell of their former selves. They're the more secular, atheistic provinces compared to Western Canada, where I'm at now. I feel almost disconnected from it because I'm in Alberta. I'm originally from Vancouver, so I'm very much like a fake Canadian, because I'm not like over there. It's not cold. It's like super hot in the summer and then kind of rainy in the wintertime. And I'm here in like actual Canada, and we're like the last bastion of common sense and hope in the whole country. And if any province were to become a state and be welcomed right at home in the US, it would be Alberta. It absolutely would be Alberta. So I try not to pay attention to the politics. I remember that it was the night before I was going to Mexico, Carney got voted in. And I said, man, it's a downward spiral. I mean, I think the UK and Australia are a cautionary tale of what Canada is to become, but there are some common sense premiers. That's like would be the equivalent of like a governor in Canada, that are holding it down pretty good. But it's basically Alberta and Saskatchewan that are the only two. I don't know what else there is to say. I try to not pay too much attention to it, because I know like I should be patriotic, but man, this country makes it very hard.
But it just goes to show you like where we're at. Like when we're talking about the mass, like this meaning crisis, and how like we view people as expendable at this point, right? Like it's just that you have somebody gets sick, somebody has dementia, and it's look, I've my grandfather had dementia, my grandfather had Alzheimer's, and it was a nightmare dealing with him. Like there were times where he'd be watching TV and he'd think that was a window, people looking at him. He'd be like, "Why are you looking at me? Why are you looking at me?" It was a very difficult thing to deal with. But we're now at a point where like families are just like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. Just freaking send them off to go get like it's not even an issue of the government at that point. That's the family just having no will to. I mean, man, you think about whichever family member called that in, like what they're going to face on their judgment, and they actually have been convinced that's an act of mercy. But man, I don't know, man. We're so dark as a culture at this point.
I just think again, it's another branch of what the fatherless generation has produced. It's multiple generations where fathers have abdicated their roles completely. And so when you don't catechize your family, they fall away from the faith. If you don't teach them these values, your kids are just going to abandon you, when they're older. And this is the product, growing up Italian, this is very alien. Even my wife, my brother-in-law, his mother has dementia so bad. Their house is a fortress. It's locked down, but they're not putting that woman in an old folks home. They're doing whatever they can to rally the troops together to take care of that woman. My father-in-law, may God bless his soul, he's got dementia, and it started, it's progressing. He's still good, but he's progressing. I'm like, we're never going to abandon that man. That wasn't the value. Those weren't the values instilled in me as a young Italian kid growing up with my grandparents. Probably the same thing for you. There's just this, I don't know. There's no honor. It's absolutely no honor. And it's absolutely disgusting. So it's up to us, but really man. Anyway.
I saw something, man, I don't even know if I should say this on YouTube. I saw something in my wife's family where somebody had a stroke and they were at a Catholic hospital after this stroke, and the hospital starved this person to death.
Ooh.
Like they just cut the feeding tube off, and the family was all for it.
Oh, dude.
The family was like, he would never want to live like this. Like, we need to stop. And the hospital, there was a Catholic hospital, and the Catholic hospital at first was like, we can't do that. And they convinced the hospital that this person would never want to live like this. You have to do this. And it was just, I was like horrified by what I watched. I was just like, holy cow, man, I cannot believe this is that. And that's not the MAID program in Canada. That's just a Catholic hospital on Long Island. And I could not believe it. And I'm looking at even what's happening in, like, I'm watching grandparents on certain sides of the family, and they're older and they're getting dementia, and I'm watching their children just kind of like wash their hands of them. And it's like, I'm like, how do man, what happened to our culture where we're just like, especially like the boomer generation, man, like they wanted to get their kids off and married, and they just kind of want to do their thing. And then when their parents go, they're just like, I don't know, I did my hard work. Like, I just kind of want to go do my cruise. I want to go off to Paris, and I want to go here, and I want to go do this. And it's just wild to me to watch this stuff, man. I don't know. I don't like when I think about, like, if my parents were sick like that, it's a big burden to bring your parents in your home. But I mean, how do you not do it as a Christian? Right? Like, how do you not do that?
Well, if you don't have an illuminated conscience and an informed conscience by the frequenting of the sacraments and penance, and you're just like poorly catechized, you're just going to float like a leaf in the wind, and your intellect and your will is going to be darkened, and you're going to be moved to doing really, really dumb things that benefit you because you're selfish and self-indulgent. I mean, it wasn't like I had a really tumultuous and turbulent relationship with my father my whole life, and it was on my heart, months back when I reverted. And then also recently I said, if I don't go and try to make amends or do something, am I honoring my father? Am I disobeying God? I wanted to run away from my last name, and I wanted to do that. It's like, no. I got to take care of that man, and I got to forgive him. Yeah. I got to try to mend a bridge, not to my detriment. If that's a burden that I have to carry, and that's made me a better father. That's drawn me closer to God, because it's like, may my humiliation, may Christ be glorified in my humiliation. That's the only way you get there is with an informed conscience through the sacraments and, understanding how wretched you are. People just don't give a crap because I'm not doing that.
How many kids you got now?
I've got three.
And what are the ages?
My eldest is 4 in like a week and a half. My 2-year-old just turned 2 in September, and then Ambrosio, my little boy, is almost 3 months.
Those are the 2 and 4 are like my favorite ages, man. Like 2, they just start talking. 4, they're just so curious about everything. That's such an exciting time.
It's amazing. There's nothing like it, dude. Having 2 little girls, a little boy, like even if we have no more, we want to have more, obviously, but it's the greatest thing ever. The greatest challenge.
Me and my wife couldn't have more. Like, we've been trying for years. We just couldn't. Like, she just couldn't get pregnant. I mean, my wife's never been on birth.
3?
My wife's never been on birth control. I have 3, yeah.
Is it two girls and a boy, or 2 boys?
2 girls and a boy. Like, I wanted 5 kids so bad, man. Like, I really did. I mean, I would want whatever I could get, but like 5 was just such an awesome number to me. I don't know. I grew up in a house with a bunch of kids, man. I have 8 siblings, and it was like, you go to my mom's house and it's just, no matter what, my mom's house is like Grand Central Station. So like, my parents are the exception to boomers because they don't have the option. Like, they just don't. Like, there's always somebody at my mom's house. They don't have the option of like going off and doing their own thing. Like, there's always kids there with grandkids, and it's just kind of mayhem. And I always kind of wanted that for myself too. It's just,
oh yeah. I mean, that's my biggest, my regret. I mean, it's something like anything I could have controlled was not meeting my wife earlier, because we both, she
How
had
old
her
are you?
first. I'm 32. My wife's older than me, so she had our
Oh,
first
you're a
kid.
baby still, dude.
Yeah, but she had our first kid when she was like 34 or 35 in the hospital, and we've had 3 kids. So it's like, you know, it's could we have 4 or 5 or 6? Maybe. She's healthy. These pregnancies have been very good, very smooth. Actually, with our little boy, it was a home birth, and it was the most insane, life-changing moment like I've ever had. It was insane, dude. It was
and once,
so crazy.
Once women get up towards 40, it really does get difficult, like for them. So all right, I'm gonna try future Dominican again. I don't know if his camera's working, but we'll bring him on. All right.
Hello, can you hear me?
We hear you, brother. What's happening?
Hello, Mr. Bates. I gotta go quick because like I'm gonna regret. Okay, I gotta go quick. So, I'm still in high school right now. Do you know of any like smaller traditional Catholic colleges that would be open to? Because my plan is I maybe want to go to college for like 2 or 3 years and then just join the Dominicans and go off.
Well, first off, slow down. Why do you have to go so quick? Because I want to ask you some stuff.
Oh, I gotta go because I'm in the car right now. I'm waiting for my dad to come back from inside the CVS.
Okay, you're in high school. How did you find our show?
I don't really remember actually. Oh wait, Wagner. I love Wagner. He's the one who got me into the manual and stuff. So you're streaming with him one day, maybe a year or 2 ago, and I've just been watching it ever since.
And how old are you?
Can't disclose. Maybe I'm 15.
Oh, dude, that is so awesome that you take your faith this seriously at 15, dude. I'm really, really, really happy that you're taking your faith this seriously. You're already thinking about joining the Dominicans. That is so awesome, man. What state are you in? Maryland. Dude, good for you, man. You know something? I don't know. I heard Dr. Kwasniewski talk about Thomas Aquinas College in California. I don't know if you want to go that far. Mike, do you know any small colleges offhand? Like, because my kids didn't go to college. I didn't really let them. Like, my kids are both in trade programs. I have my son doing like a welding program. My daughter's doing esthetician school. But dude, I am so happy to hear a 15-year-old is taking their faith this seriously.
Yeah, but I also don't really. No,
Sorry.
sorry,
Go ahead, man.
Sorry.
No,
I
go
don't know.
ahead.
I just kind of want to go to college. I just want something expensive because my parents kind of want to. They don't really really. I don't know if they're okay with me joining the Dominicans because they're still Protestant.
Wow, dude.
That's crazy, dude. God bless you, man. Okay, so I heard Matt Fradd is promoting. Oh, I can't remember the college or the university.
St. Joseph the Worker, I think.
That's right. I think that's more got to do with the trades. I'm not sure if there's actual formation there. You should look into it though, because a part of it is not being crazy expensive, being in tons of debt. So you should look into that if you haven't already, brother.
Or Christendom College, because I know Michael Hitchborn sent his son to Christendom College. Look into that. But listen, I know your parents are Protestant. I know you kind of sneaking this phone call in.
They're gonna. I'm cooked if they find this stream. I'm so cooked.
Don't worry about it, man. We're all gonna be praying for you, man. God bless you, and stay on the journey you're on, man. You're gonna have a fruitful life, brother.
Thank you. I'm very glad I got to talk to you guys.
Me too, man. It's nice to meet you.
God bless you, bro.
I'm going to say this before we bring the next guest on, because we do have Matthew and don't tread on Chuck. The one thing I've found so interesting about our show is they're all young men that watch our show, first off, and they're not white, a lot of them, you know. So it's like when I hear the Groypers talking about the stuff they're talking about, I kind of get frustrated by it, you know. And I don't know how you feel about this, but especially because there are so few white guys that take their faith seriously. It's like if your daughter meets a guy who's like Spanish or something, but he takes his faith seriously, like what's more important to you, that your grandchildren have the faith or that your daughter marries a white guy? Like, I don't know what the answer is on that. I mean, my daughters aren't dating yet. It's just, I don't know what, like, for me, what would be more important is passing the Catholic faith down to my grandchildren, you know? It's a tricky question. It's not, you know, I get the whole conversation that's going on in the public right now, but there's so few options out there for women right now of guys who take their faith seriously.
All I'm going to say is Italians or Lebanese only, because my wife's Lebanese. I'm Italian. That's my opinion. I'm just going to like leave it simple without getting into the going down to the rabbit hole.
You're sticking with that? I mean,
I'm like sticking with it, dude. It's like, that's it.
All right. And then we got Italians aren't white.
Yeah.
Italians are just European Mexicans.
Especially Southern Italians. Where's your family from, Anthony? Do you know where they're from?
I know my dad's side's from Sicily, my mom's side's from Naples, and then I have Irish too. Like my mom's mom is Irish, so it's like I'm like 75% Italian, like 20% Irish, and then I think my dad's grandmother was German, so I might have some German in there and stuff. It's like
You're Italian. Stop it. You're not.
I am Italian, but I am a mutt. Like I do have a mixture in there. But it's just something I've been thinking about because, like, I don't know. Like when I go to my Latin Mass parish, it's like there's not a lot of white guys there. It's like it's all like Spanish guys and Latino guys and stuff. And I'm like, oh man, there's not that
arranged marriage. I know a lot of young couples with kids around our age that are very pious. It's like that's just what we're gonna do.
I kind of feel like this, Bobby, and I haven't made a decision on this yet. It's just I think it's perfectly acceptable to want your kids to look like you, but if that's your top priority, you've lost the plot. Like I don't know, man. It's a question I got to wrestle with, and we'll see. You know,
yeah, it's definitely one of those questions you got to wrestle with, no doubt.
Yeah. All right, Matthew, what's happening, bro?
How's it going, brothers?
Oh, Matthew, are you French Canadian?
Absolutely, my friend.
Of course you are. What's up, Matthew?
I mean, yeah, you were talking about Canada. I mean, just like after the Second Vatican Council, like that's when really the silent revolution, ou la révolution tranquille, they call it in French, happened, and the church started losing its grasp on Quebec society, and it just like the society is just not what it used to be. I mean, it used to be like these European great looking churches everywhere, and now it's just like a desolate wasteland of Catholicism. It's like, what is going on here?
How old are you?
I'm 19, brother.
19. So, okay. So do you have any kind of a community of other Catholics who take their faith seriously at your age?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I go to in Ottawa and to St. Clement's. We have a very good parish community there. I mean, it's a fantastic community.
Okay, that's
so
good.
I mean, we go like after mass, we always go out to eat. It's fantastic. Like,
yeah, Canada is such a strange thing to me because it is like Catholic Canada. Like there was during World War II, the Pope was going to escape to Canada because it was so Catholic, and he was worried about the Nazis coming into Italy and stuff. And it's like, man, you think about the loss of what they've gone through over the past 75 years and how they just, oh man, it's just devastating. It's one of those things where it's the same thing as Europe, where because it was formerly Christendom, its fall away from the faith is so much more devastating than even in America. Because in America, you still kind of have a Christian culture. It's not Catholic by any means, but like Jesus is able to be spoken about, and you still have this very Christian culture, and nobody thinks you're weird if you go to church and stuff. But when you hear the stories out of Europe and Canada, it's just so crazy to me that these formerly Catholic countries have just abandoned their faith the way they have.
yeah, and I mean, Peter Kay said on the podcast with Matt Fradd, I watched the whole like 3 hours, and it was like the corruption of the best is the worst. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. What do you think of Peugeot? Do you like Peugeot?
I mean, I haven't really looked at much as Jonathan Pajot's stuff. I mean, I've heard that Rob hates his voice. That's I've seen it, a couple times on Jordan Peterson, but like honestly, I haven't. Like I mean, honestly, like most of us, like even like my family's Catholic roots were just completely eviscerated. Like my grandmother was the only really pious one, and it's like, I don't blame these people for going to Orthodoxy or going to Sedevacantism or the SSPX, which is so big there. I don't blame them whatsoever.
What sparked your faith back up? If your family's not that pious.
Well, I go to university, and some group of Catholic missionaries came up to me, and it took me like a year to discern, and then I had to stop coping. I know, I mean, this is the truth. I had to join. It is what it is.
Well, dude, sorry. I was just gonna say,
No,
dude,
go ahead,
then,
Mike.
Then we're repaving the path forward for our families. So that's it. That's part of my motivation as well for practicing as hard as I do, is not just because I love God, but also because that's the future. Otherwise, like Canada, I mean, all of the West is just going to go to hell in a handbasket if men in particular don't take it seriously. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, we've watched, as the faith has collapsed, it's like the dominion of Satan has been like enthroned all over the West. And it's like, what's going on here? I mean, this is not okay. Like, we got to stop this. And I mean, there's lots of hope in our community because it's growing slowly but surely. I mean, it's growing as like our parish is packed on Sundays. It's a decently big parish. I mean, the story of how they kept the Latin Mass, like they've been a Latin Mass even like right after the council. Like they kept it through like the St. Clement's parish group. They've kept it for like 50 years after the council.
Yeah.
Before they got taken over by the FSSP. But yeah, I mean, it is some crazy stories, man.
You guys, when you call in and I see all you young guys calling in, how'd you find our show?
Honestly, I mean, it popped up on my feed and like, I forget what it was, but I was kind of like, these guys are off the rails. And then a couple weeks later, I see something in the news and I'm like, these guys were totally right about this. I'm like, yeah, I got to listen to these guys again. And then, I just got hooked onto the show.
We're very happy to have you, Matthew. Thank you for joining us, man. It was nice to meet you. Keep the
God bless
faith,
you
bro.
guys. Yes,
You got a
sir.
leg up.
brother.
You're 19.
God bless
You got a good start on your life. Meet a nice girl and just always keep it close to you. It's the most important thing you'll ever have in your life.
God bless you guys.
Nice meeting
God bless,
you, bro.
buddy. Awesome.
I love that it's all young guys that call in, man. It's such an awesome thing to me. All right, don't tread on Chuck. What's happening, bro?
Hey, Anthony, Mike, thanks for having me, guys. I think this is a little more directed to Anthony because I know you have some difficult family stuff that we hear you go on and on about, but I've got little kids and I'm really struggling with how to handle all the invalid marriages around. This is a huge problem. I'm sure you guys know. But as my kids get old enough to learn about the sacrament of marriage, I'm worried about, even my wife's parents might even have an invalid marriage, so I don't really know what's the best way to handle this. I know it's a big deal to just say like, hey, I don't want you guys displaying that you're in a romantic relationship while it's not a valid marriage in front of the kids. So I'm just curious how you handle this in your own life. If you have this scenario going on, I don't know if you do.
I'll tell you this. One of the ways I've talked to my kids about this is kind of showing the dysfunction of the relationship, because we have a lot of like family members that don't take their faith seriously. I have family members that are living out of wedlock. I have family members that are, and their lives are very chaotic. And I've used that as a way to show my children how important the sacrament of marriage is. And it's like, okay, you see the people who don't take God seriously in their lives, and you see how chaotic their lives are. This is the consequence of not actually having a life grounded in God and the sacraments. Because I even have family members who they're cradle Catholics, but they're no longer going to church or anything like that, and they're raising their kids without God. And you kind of see the way their kids are handling life, and it's just kind of chaotic. So, I mean, how old are your kids? How little?
My boys are 5 and my daughter's 3. I have twin boys and a 3-year-old daughter.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're not going to have those deep conversations yet, but as they get into their teen years, like, the thing is, I was always terrified of having teenagers because I was a crazy teenager and I got into a lot of trouble. But what you'll find is, especially with your boys, that as they get older, they're actually smart enough to start understanding deeper concepts. And you can have conversations with your boys that maybe your dad never had with you. And it's kind of an exciting time when they start hitting 13 and 14. And you could start talking to them about typology, and you could start talking to them about how the reason marriage is a sacrament and that it's indissoluble is the same reason why when a priest consecrates the host, you can't unconsecrate it. Once that host becomes Jesus Christ, it can't be undone. And it's the same thing with marriage. Once a marriage is consummated, you cannot, it is a consummated marriage and it cannot be undone. And when you start to see those invalid marriages and kind of the chaotic relationships, kind of use that as the reason we don't go that route.
I think I get all that, but I think really what I struggle with is extremely practical things. Like, for instance, I have a cousin that was divorced and my kids knew the husband. And now my cousin has a boyfriend and we're about to move back to proximity with that cousin. And these are the kind of things I have a difficulty with. Like, what kind of lines do you draw with things like this? You know,
Yeah,
like,
I honestly,
can the boyfriend come over for Thanksgiving? I don't really know.
Yeah.
Because what if that means my cousin doesn't come over? So
yeah, no,
it's tough,
you
man.
do let them come over. You just, the line would be like, if they're staying over the house, like they can't stay in the same bedroom.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like you have to teach your children to love everybody and not look upon everybody with judgment, because the last thing you want to do is just start pointing the finger at people around you, and then you kind of cut off any avenue to ever have a conversation with them for grace. And and your kids will be smart, man. Your kids are they're going to see, because look, if they're divorced and they're getting involved in another relationship, I'm telling you, that relationship's going to be chaotic. And that's kind of the way you're going to be able to teach your children about it. Like, I mean, I don't know, Mike, you have different advice on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think your thoughts and your energy should be probably allocated somewhere else, and not attending too much focus and energy on this right now with your kids being so young. It just, I mean, everything you said, Anthony, is perfect. It's opportunity. It's a learning lesson, an opportunity for learning and teaching and further catechizing your children. But I don't know, these things never really came to my mind. To be completely honest,
and like, as situations come up, you might have to have deep conversations. I mean, that's just, but look forward to those deep conversations. Like you should look forward to those deep conversations, because that is a chance to like deepen your children's faith in those situations. And it's, I mean, my kids are smart, man. And as they get older, they're going to see the chaos in those situations. But yeah, I would say the line is like, you can't invite them for Thanksgiving, love them. That's your cousin. Like, it's not your job to like regulate other people's lives like that. But I would say like a line would be like, you can't permit fornication in your presence, you know? So if they're staying at your house, it's like, you guys aren't married. You're not staying in a room together, but you know, this is your life. I'm not here to judge you. It's just, there's lines in my house that my children are never going to see.
Yeah, I will say, just as we finish this conversation, I definitely do think, you know, I converted 5 years ago and I was basically a trad from the get-go. This is a big problem in the trad movement, because I think there is a section of the trad movement that would say, like, don't let your cousin come over with her new boyfriend, like, cut that person out of your life. And I think I might have thought that in 2020 or 2021, but I think that is a big issue that needs to be addressed. And I do see that now, that is kind of like the rad trad tendency.
I don't know. I've never seen anything like that from the trads personally at all. At least in the small time, the length of time I've been involved in traditional Catholicism. I think, you know, making prudential judgments, like Anthony said, about them not sleeping in the same room together, or if there is a marriage of two lapsed Catholics, that you're not going to that wedding. I mean, these things are just, I think these are common sense items, but like, to cut them off and not bring them into your house, you know, granted they're not doing anything ludicrous or whatever inside your home, I mean, that's a different story. I mean, it is also an opportunity to, you know, bring the light of Christ to them in some way, either by showing them the fruits of your household, which does work, dude. I've seen it in my own family, man. A bunch of lapsed Catholics, God bless them. And then my mom's having different conversations with me. My brother's having different conversations with me, because they just see the fruit that has, you know, been produced in my household because of the grace of God and how we've, you know, practice our faith. So, I mean, be prudent. And I think, yeah, absolutely. Anthony's advice was perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right.
Guys.
It was nice meeting you, brother.
All
Okay, we got David up next. What's happening, David?
So, can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so I have a quick question here. All right, so my parents are both baptized Catholics, and they only recently, like a couple years ago, they got married sacramentally. But when I was born, they were only married civilly. Would I be considered a bastard?
No. No.
No.
No. A bastard would mean your father doesn't claim you. Even Pope Alexander VI, like he had bastard children, but once he claimed them, they were no longer bastards, and he was not married even. You know, like you can legitimize your children even if you're never married. Like your bastard children are just like that. I don't know. I don't even know how that would even function in today's day and age. I think if the father recognizes the child as his own, and especially if you have your father's last name, you're not a bastard.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to know because like my parents, like only until like I would say like 6 years ago, they got married sacramentally. They were only married civilly, though.
Yeah, that would imply Mike's first two children are bastards, right, Mike?
Yeah, that would imply. I definitely claim my children, and they're not bastard children.
Yeah, that's definitely not an issue, dude. You are your dad's son. You're not a bastard.
So, what would be the difference between a natural marriage and a sacramental marriage then?
Well, the church recognizes natural marriages. We would just, because they're not sacramental, they're not going to, like, it is an odd thing. Like the church recognizes like civil marriage, right? So even if you don't get married sacramentally in the church, like if you have let's say you're not Catholic and you get married civilly, and then you get divorced, and then you have a conversion and become Catholic, you still need an annulment. You still need the church to put the decree of annulment on that first marriage, even though it was a civil marriage and you weren't even Catholic at the time. So it's like the church recognizes civil marriage. The difference is in a sacramental marriage earns you grace to heaven.
Okay, thank you. That's all I wanted to know, though.
You're not a bastard, David. You're good. Don't worry, brother. It's nice talking to you. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like an expert on this stuff, but like that, I mean, I can't imagine I was wrong on that, right?
No, I don't think it doesn't sound like you were.
I mean,
otherwise, man, there are a lot of bastards out there.
What's up, David?
So,
is the same David? Did I bring the same guy?
It's the same one.
Oh, okay, sorry. Right. It's the same David. Yeah, Pope Alexander had like 7 kids, and I don't think he recognized all of them though. Like he recognized like Cesare and Juan, but I don't think he recognized all 7. Yeah, like to recognize your. I think that's all that a bastard means, right? Like you're just.
I always thought of it as like you having a child out of wedlock, not being married. Like you're a bastard because you're not like under the sort of, I guess not protection, but the container of marriage. But maybe I got that completely wrong.
Yeah, well, I think at one point that might have been the case, but I think if your kid, even if you're not married and your kid has your last name, like a bastard is a child with no father. I think that's the classic definition of the term.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. I think just like there's a whole bunch of us out here with daddy issues and think we're bastards because we hate our dads. The definition has been changed. It's been watered down.
Yeah, I think like a bastard is somebody without a dad. Like there's a lot of bastards in certain communities because the fathers take off, and you know it's like. But I'm bastard splaining. All right, we got Jim. How long you got till, Mike? I don't want to keep you on all night.
No, I'm good. I probably have to just take a piss in a little bit, but otherwise I'm good.
Me too. I don't know how much longer I'm making it either. What's up, Jim?
Yo, what's up, guys? How are you?
What's going on?
Good, man.
Cool. And I chatted you. What were you talking about earlier? Your tweet about the idea of
we're losing you. Wait, the idea of what?
Augustine talking about like religion as a concept.
Oh, that's right. Oh, all right. So you're Jim Pine.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, I
Okay,
should have
okay.
said that.
Okay. So, all right. So, Dinesh D'Souza. Let me bring up Dinesh D'Souza's tweet. Let me see. Let me bring up Dinesh's tweet. Okay, so okay, here we go. So Dinesh D'Souza said, Jesus was a Jew, not a Christian. He didn't practice Christianity. He attended synagogue and kept the Sabbath. He taught out of the Hebrew scriptures, which were the only ones he knew. He claimed to be the fulfillment, not the repudiation of the Hebrew scriptures and prophets. So I said, modern people don't really get the idea of having a religion is actually a Christian concept. It was developed by Augustine. Saying Jesus was a Jew as it's understood today is absurd. What we understand as a Jew, like somebody like a Muslim having the Muslim religion, this is an idea that's developed by Augustine because when he's trying to work out the difference in the religious and the secular. The Jews were a people. They weren't a religion, right? So Jesus is a descendant of David. Yes, he does follow the Hebrew scriptures and all that, but it's not like he believes Judaism. That's not what it is. Like the Jews back then are just a people. And that's always how like, even when you understand paganism, like it wasn't their religion. They were just pagans and they were a people and they did these ceremonies. But the idea that like somebody practices a certain faith is a very like the period of time would be like the Dark Ages when that starts to get developed. Like we live today in such Christian waters that so many of the concepts we understand are just Christian concepts. But the Jews would never have seen themselves as like the people of the Jews would never have seen themselves like apart from the things they did, their rituals. And it wouldn't have been like this idea now where you have like Jews who don't actually believe the religion and stuff. They're still Jews. It's not where Catholics, like if you're a fallen away Catholic, you're not really a Catholic, right?
Yeah.
But a Jew, like a secular Jew who doesn't believe anything about the Hebrew Bible, they're still a Jew. It's a very different thing from Christians and like having this conversion experience. And now I believe this thing and I have this religion. It's a Christian concept that never existed before Christianity. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Sort of, yeah. I just like been, I've seen clips of Nick talking about like the JQ, and like people will talk about is it an ethnicity or like just a religion and all that stuff. So that kind of makes sense from that standpoint.
Yeah, it is like the Jews are a very interesting group because
They're the most unique, right? Like there's nothing like it because they are an ethnicity, but it's also like a religion.
We should do a show on Romans 9, 10, and 11 is what we should do, because in Romans 9, 10, and 11, Paul talks about all Israel will be saved. Now, is he talking about spiritual Israel or ethnic Israel? And it's like, this is like something that like theologians have been wrestling with. It's like, all right, well, Paul is saying all Israel will be saved. Is he talking about spiritual Israel, which would be us, because we're the children of the promise, or is he talking about ethnic Israel? And he's actually talking about ethnic Israel in Romans 9, 10, and 11. And ethnic Israel to the point where like the Israelites are 12 tribes, right? But after the first temple is destroyed, the 10 northern tribes break off, and what you call Jews today are only the southern two tribes, the tribe of Judah and the tribe of Benjamin. But those 10 northern tribes leave. You have the like Jesus goes to the Samaritans, right? Like all the time. Like Jesus is always going to the Samaritans. And you have to understand what Samaritans are. They're heretics. They have the Pentateuch, right? They have the 5 books of Moses. They don't have any of the prophets, and then they mix in idol worship. So Jesus keeps going to them, and the Jews are scandalized by this. They're like, why are you going to the Samaritans? And Jesus is like, I've come to call the lost children of Israel. And Jesus is going out to get those 10 northern tribes. Now, the 10 northern tribes are so scattered amongst the nations that the only way God can actually save all 12 tribes is by converting the Gentiles, because they're so Gentilized at that point that they're Gentiles. So the way the new covenant works is like God fulfills Romans 9, 10, and 11, and all Israel is saved. He's not talking about every single individual Jew. He's just saying Jews from all 12 tribes, he's preserved a remnant in every one of those tribes. And when the new covenant goes out, he brings them into the new covenant, and all 12 tribes are then saved. To say a Jew, like Jesus was a Jew. Yeah, he was a descendant of David, but like religion, the way we understand it, like rabbinic Judaism is so different from the Judaism that exists in Christ's time when they have a temple and sacrifices. Like rabbinic Judaism is what's invented. It's Phariseeism, essentially, that gets invented after the destruction of the temple in 70 AD. Phariseeism, Jesus is going after the Pharisees all the time. Those are the people that exist today. Like that, the people that Jesus is fighting with and condemning throughout the New Testament, that's the Judaism that exists today. So to say Jesus is a Jew is kind of a crazy thing to say. It's not rooted in reality.
Yeah. So you're going to take the 7,000 a post if they offer it to you?
I would have to consider it. I could use the $7,000.
I mean, that's a lot of money, you know. And those boat motors aren't getting any cheaper, you know.
Maybe we will do a show on Romans 9, 10, and 11 one day, because it's one of the most amazing, it's one of the hardest epistles to understand other than Hebrews. Like Hebrews is bonkers if you don't understand the Jewish roots of sacrifice and stuff. But Romans 9, 10, and 11 is a really good one. So maybe we'll do that one day. I'll have to study it again because it's been years since I did. But thank you, Jim. Love you, brother.
I just want to have one last shout out to Chris from Crash Cannon. He recommended the same microphone to me he did for a religious hippie and Catholic engineer. So, you know, I just wanted to thank him for that.
You're on your way to being an e-girl, dude. You're good.
Dude, I know. Yeah, thanks.
Love you,
Thanks,
Jim.
Chris.
One of
Talk
my
to you,
favorites, bro. It's like throughout the Old Testament, God is promising to unite the 12 tribes of Israel. Right? Like it's like one of the promises. He's like, oh, we're going to unite the 12 tribes of Israel. So everybody, you'll see Protestants today being like, well, where are the lost tribes? Where are the lost tribes? Well, the lost tribes were dispersed amongst the nations. So when the new covenant goes out and Paul starts preaching in Greece and Thessalonica and Ephesus and all these different places, the remnant of Israelites is in those nations and they wind up converting. And that's how God gathers the 12 nations together.
The thing is, that people don't, most normies that want to shill for Israel and the Zionists don't think about it beyond these like epithets that mean nothing, that essentially just point toward them shilling for Israel. Jesus is a Jew. That's like one of those just classical things that even me with relatively not as much knowledge as you on this stuff can say, like, yeah, that's total BS. Like, I know what you're trying to say, but it's not the same thing.
It's just so silly. And the thing is, like, the Jews play a very significant part in the story of Christianity, even today, and they will in the apocalypse as well. And there's going to be like the Antichrist is going to be the Jewish Messiah, and they're going to persecute the Christians. And then at the end of time, there will be a reunification of the brothers. It's going to be like Joseph reuniting with his brothers who sold him into slavery. His brother Judah, who sold him into slavery for 20 pieces of silver, which is literally a identical typological fulfillment of Christ being sold by Judas for 30 pieces of silver, right? And we get the 12 tribes of Israel from Israel's 12 sons, and the youngest is Joseph, who gets sold into slavery, and then later on unites his other 11 brothers who are like going through a famine and they're going to die unless he saves them, you know. But that unification will happen again. It's just that's how the story is going to play out.
Man, I'm just over here trying to be a good Catholic, bro. This whole like JQ talk that people are into online, I'm like, man, dude, this is like, it's so exhausting. What you're saying, all this stuff. I mean, this actually has like historical and
well, it's theological. Like I like
that's what I'm saying, theological relevance. But I'm like, man, this whole conversation's so exhausting.
I never talk about it from a position of they run the banks, they run, you know, like I don't care about that stuff. I care about the story of Christianity.
course.
Very much. Like I care about how the story plays out. And there is enmity between the people of the old covenant and the people of the new covenant. And it's every story in the Old Testament. If you read it, you'll find that the birthright is supposed to go to the eldest son, and something happens where it winds up going to the secondborn. Every time. Like Israel is God's firstborn son, but Christ is the one who gets the promise, right? It's like there's the promise goes to the Gentiles when Israel should have gotten it, right? So, but when you look at Jacob and Esau, Esau is the firstborn, and he's talking with his brother Jacob, and he trades his birthright for a bowl of stew. And then Jacob's mother then goes to the father and says, dresses Jacob up with a hairy arm to make him look like Esau, and then brings him to the father, and the father touches the arm and thinks it's Esau, and he winds up giving the birthright to Jacob. Like this is actual typology for Our Lady as well. Like we go and we bring our stuff to Our Lady, and she then presents it to the father for us. Like this is a very important typological story to understand Our Lady's role as well. You know,
I didn't get red pilled on that until I read Tim Staples' book, Behold Your Mother. And then when I read that and all of what you just said, and then some, I would sit there reading a chapter at a time, putting it down and just having like galaxy brain, just mind utterly blown at all this stuff. And it's, I don't know. This is why I appreciate it. I marvel at like the level of intelligence that the guys like Josh Charles have to just talk about this like endlessly. I'm like, where do you stuff it in that big head, man? Like,
especially, I mean, if you want a good book on the typology of Our Lady, St. Alphonsus Liguori's The Glories of Mary is phenomenal.
That's one I still have to get.
That book is phenomenal. Like he goes through some of the typology of Our Lady that is unbelievable. And then, Brant Petry's great on her too. Brant Petry, I forgot what book. But yeah, like every woman in scripture in the Old Testament is in some way like giving you a glimpse into the life of Our Lady, you know?
Of course.
So, I mean, we all go to the one of Solomon's mother, the Bathsheba, because he's got 700 concubines. So his mother is the queen. And that's how the Davidic kingdom works, where you have the queen mother, right? And that's Our Lady prefigured. But there's so many of those. So like every single woman in the Bible, even who's the woman who like there's one that prefigures Our Lady crushing the serpent's head, where she throws a rock at someone's head. And I don't know, they're all in there. The Book of Esther, all of them, they all prefigure her. So, all right, boys, I think we're going to wrap this one up. It's 10:30. Mike, I always love hanging with you, man.
Likewise, brother. It's always a pleasure, man. Let's definitely do it again.
It's a Friday night, and we had a good time tonight. So all you young guys that called in, man, we love you guys. Thank you guys for supporting our show and hanging with us on a Friday night. This show is a little bit all over the place, but I think we all had a good time. So if you guys can, go check out Mike's YouTube channel. Mike's trying to grow that YouTube channel, and it's had some really good growth. So just look up Mike Pantile on YouTube, and you will come across Mike's channel. He does a lot of good stuff on there. And what's the other one? Instagram you're on, right?
Yeah, Instagram, X, yeah, YouTube, and yeah, Mike Pantile. You find me there. And then stay tuned because I might have a weekly show coming up here, guys. So stay tuned for that as well. That'll probably be on YouTube in addition to the network.
Mike's going to sell out. He's going to go mainstream. He's joining Catholic Inc. I'm just telling you guys.
I got the call, boys.
Mike,
you noticed how quiet I was during the
Catholic
JQ conversation? I'm just kidding.
You are the guy they're picking to replace Voice of Reason.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what's
right.
happening.
Some big shoes to fill, dude.
Dude, I love hanging with you, man. All right, guys. We will see you guys on Tuesday night. Thank you for joining us. We will see you guys next time.
Love you, bro. See ya.